Welcome to a debate review episode of the Confluence panel, open panel review of Emmet and Witchy's debate. I caught a little bit of this, not enough to really judge it. Honestly, my gut is that Emmet is probably going to win, but maybe I'm a bit biased. We're going to go through it today. Okay, if anyone wants to join and go through it with me, you're very much welcome. Mi casa es su casa, as the Spaniards would say, as Emmet's people would say. So you can click that link that's pinned at the top. The chat is also in the description. If you think about it, good to see you, StreamYard. Good to see myself. Good to see you, Rage Page. Good to see you, Daniel. Good to see you, Big Soda. Good to see you, Podesta. And yes, Podesta, I mean, I don't know, because that feels like what it kind of would be. Because, yeah, if you define witchcraft a certain way. But it does get interesting, because it does get interesting based on their definitions. Because I think they actually do settle on definitions. But Witchy still tries to say that under the agreed upon definition, Christianity is still witchcraft. If you think about it, an uphill battle, to be sure. Good to see you, Topanga Weevil. Haven't seen you in a hot minute. Good to see you, Steelman. I think that's it. There we go. Our girl Witchy dominated. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Let me unload my intro, because I can't have two things on at once. Let me load in Big Soda. How's it going, Big Soda? Super Protestant.
I forgot my pronouns.
Oh, that's why you need a pin, brother. That's why you need a pin. Yeah. Every time I forget, I'm just like, oh yeah. I'll get you one, Big Soda. I'll hook you up, okay? Don't even worry about it.
You ready to see Emmet get embarrassed?
Oh yeah, Emmet's gonna get stomped, absolutely destroyed with facts and logic. Have you seen any of this, by the way?
I've seen about 45 minutes of it.
Okay. It gets a little crazy. Now, I should have just found, in hindsight, I should have found the right place to start before I started this video, but I kind of didn't. So there might be intros and stuff. Okay, so bear with me. We might have to skip around a bit. I don't know how tight of a show she's running over there. Yeah, you have been. You're coming up. Due date is. Am I allowed to say your due date? Due date's in a few months. I'll say that. Although I know her exact due date. That's what a good friend does. Okay. Let's see.
Of the familiar, who later.
Okay, I think they already. Okay, I think they started right away. Okay.
Yeah, they get into it like quick.
Okay, I don't even. Okay, here we go. Bam. You guys ready for this? Can we just switch to language that doesn't have gendered pronouns like Chinese? Would save lots of arguments. Yeah, China wouldn't talk about this, although China wouldn't talk about this shit. Anyway, China doesn't have time for this shit, okay? That's how we know that we're losing, because we obsess over this nonsense.
Started.
All right, there's Emmet. Emmet dressed for success in this debate.
Right.
Okay, look at him.
We'll have Witchy go first for a 10-minute opening, then Emmet, and after the openings are done, we'll go into our 1 hour and 30-minute open dialogue. So, Witchy, whenever you're ready, please start speaking, and I will start your.
Wait, I thought a breach. Wait, you can tell if he's. I don't know how babies work, man. Like a breach is when they're like flipped around, right? They're fucking doing gymnastics in there. Can't himself the other way. He's got a few months to like figure that shit out, right? Or is it just like once you're flipped, you're kind of stuck?
It depends, because some babies can flip themselves and be stuck. Some babies can kind of work themselves out of a breach.
I think you just got to like get Frankie to kind of like massage your stomach and kind of like, or you could go in from the inside and try to straighten things out. Whatever works for you guys. Okay, there's got to be a method.
Timer.
I think doctors are recommending bungee jumping in Brazil.
Just switch these around.
Imagine yourself walking into a huge cathedral. And as you walk in, everybody is
imagining it
and dipping their fingers.
Is this loud enough, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be louder. Oh, yeah, and we'll also do like 1.5 speed. I think it's only like 2 hours long. The video looks very long, but I think they opened a panel after like 2 hours.
Making the sign of the cross before they walk in. And everyone does this. And as you walk in, they approach the pews where, before taking a seat, they address the idol behind the altar with another sign of the cross and a bow or curtsy before taking their seat. Upon taking their seat, they drop to their knees in supplication to the idol of the familiar, who later they will drink his blood and eat of his flesh to absorb his glory. and join him at the table of his father. And
I'm already getting triggered.
Bro, give it. I think 4 or 5 more sentences.
Okay, fine, but I'm already triggered.
No, this is not a satanic cult. This is not a coven. This is the Mass of the Eucharist. It happens almost every day somewhere.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, I know if Witchy's watching, she's gonna be really mad because I'm pausing. I'm sorry, but that's just like, I don't know, man. It's just like a vibes-based thing. Like, I know it's an opening, but it's still just like, we're talking about witchcraft. We're not saying, does Christianity look similar to other traditions? You know, like, oh, you know, New Age stuff or old age paganism, right? Oh, they used altars and you use an altar? Oh, therefore witchcraft. I don't know. We're starting off on the wrong foot. Okay, maybe I'm being too critical. Hey, it's Glacier. Hey, Glacier.
Hello. How's it going?
What's up?
Good. How about you?
It's been going.
Glad you're here to react to this with us, Glacier.
Yeah,
Have you
why not?
have you watched this before? Did you watch it live?
I watched it in real time.
Okay, no spoilers. No spoilers. Okay, it's a spoiler-free zone.
Spoiler free. Got it.
In the world. Some small churches only practice it once a month when the circuit priest can come, but they all know the ritual. They all know that at some point a priest is going to take bread over his head and say, "This is my flesh, eat it." And he's going to lick the goblet and say, "This is my blood."
By the way, my priest has never said that. My priest have never said this is my body.
With a blessing of herbs as their.
Well, it's usually a quote from. It's not. He's not saying it about him. He's usually saying, you know, Jesus said.
She's forgetting the last part where you're supposed to take part in it, and the last thing that he says, "Do this in remembrance of me," which, as in, take part of the blood and the flesh of Christ. But it is supposed to be symbolic, not actual. But of course, she wants to project it to be actual for her little conversation.
But I mean, to be fair, I mean, in the Catholic Church, right, and me as well, right? I'm a transubstantiationist, and all Catholics believe this, that it does literally become the body and blood of Christ.
And that is why you are Catholic.
Not physically. I'm not a Catholic. I'm not a Catholic, but you know.
Okay, I'm joking. But yeah, no, the Orthodox don't say it like that.
Yeah, you guys got to work that out. Okay, you guys got to talk about Catholics a bit.
That's your problem.
Yeah, figure that out. Okay, because you're on the Protestant side of just thinking, oh, it's a symbol. No, it's not a symbol. But Orthos don't think it's a symbol, like because it is still like a fucking. It's weird to say fucking there. It still is a sacrament, you know. So which seems
it is still a sacrament, but she's trying to conflate it as something demonic when it's not.
Yeah, and that's my main critique so far. Is it just seems like vibes based, like, oh, have you heard that Jesus said, "Eat my flesh"? Have you heard that churches have pews and altars and they worship something? It's like, okay, but what that? I mean, I know she's gonna get into her definition of witchcraft, but this just seems to be kind of poisoning the well a little bit, in my opinion. Okay, I'm being perhaps a little harsh.
No. She's absolutely poisoning the well.
Which is what witches do, if you think about it. That's very on brand.
They do that a lot.
They fucking always poison wells.
Priest enters this building, he will bless you with scented herbs and incense. He will ask you to lay down your burdens and confess your sins to the familiar that is idolized on the cross above him.
I could project.
Yeah, Podesta. I love when people use Curaga. You ever heard of that? That's a really good way.
I mean, I could project what she has used as her worldview and how she's explained it to me. She doesn't talk about whether there is black magic versus white magic. She doesn't seem to talk about that at all.
Yeah, because that's racist.
I saw a little bit later on, but I am curious how she's going to define. Because obviously there is ways you could define witchcraft that would encompass Christianity. If you make it like very broad and non-specific, then sure. And so I don't know. I wonder how quickly they're going to pin down a definition that they both would agree to. Because I know it eventually ends up in like a more like, where does the power come from and who has access to the power and stuff. But because, yeah, I feel like you'd have to make a very loose definition of witchcraft to encompass something like Christianity.
She does.
Unless by witchcraft she just means anything in, like maybe she is being accurate, and by witchcraft she just means a vibes-based thing of something involving altars and things that you worship and incense. And it's like, sure, the trappings are similar, you know, both use altars, both use witchcraft, both, you know, will pray to things, but
Oh yeah, well, when you make it that wide of a net, it's just like, I mean, at this point, anybody is a witch when you spread it out that wide.
Yeah, it's not a very useful word at that point. And so, but Emmet, I can't imagine Emmet's going to agree to a definition that he's going to then get later cucked by. So yeah, I'm going to see how this goes. Going by the dictionary definition, yeah, I don't even know what that would. I don't even know what the dictionary definition of witchcraft would be. Maybe I could look that up. I mean, it doesn't really matter necessarily.
She used Webster's, I believe.
Oh, she actually does. Okay, well, I'm gonna peek ahead a little bit.
Keep going. Yes.
The use of sorcery or magic. Well, yeah, okay.
Yes,
communication with the devil or the familiar. Rituals and practices that incorporate belief in magic and that are associated especially with neo-pagan traditions and religions such as Wicca. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. This is even with this definition, it's hard.
Hold on. This is where it gets complicated because I think she used specific Webster definitions for certain terminologies. It might have been spell and magic. I'm not quite sure. Maybe witchcraft as well, but I don't believe it might have been witchcraft. If it was, I know that she chose very specific and select parts of Webster's witchcraft definition. So
yeah, if you go down the path, if you like kind of hyper select your witchcraft definition and then hyper select your magic definition, then maybe you can make it work. Because I'm sure if we looked up magic, it could be some like, believing that there's supernatural forces at work in the universe. And it's like, well, okay. And then so Christians believe that. And if witchcraft is the use of stuff involving supernatural forces, but that would be kind of a hodgepodge kind of definition.
She didn't use witchcraft, so it must have been magic and spell. Okay.
Imagine using definition too.
She was basically cherry picking her definitions to begin with.
Yeah. What if she does use definition too? That's a good point. She's like, all I mean is that Christianity is an irresistible influence or fascination.
Ritual and magic.
It's crazy they threw that definition in there.
I know. Yeah. Good to see you, Dark Side.
They needed to. She
never gave I hope she gives a definition of witchcraft. Otherwise, I don't know what this debate's going to be. Good to see you, Brandon. Confluence prompt cooking already. Crazy. I'm not prompt cooking, okay? I'm just thinking of the way she could prompt cook.
Consider this. We already used Webster's dictionary and looked up what it actually says for witchcraft, and it already sort of outs outs it as being demonic in one of the definitions.
Yeah, I mean, she's gonna have to make like some type of specialized definition, but like I said, I just fear it's gonna be like overly broad.
It sort of does.
Hodgepodge is so boomer. Fuck off, Brandon. Don't at me like that. Brandon's always trying to get up my ass, not in a gay way, but in like an annoying me kind of way. We'll see if she gives a definition. Yeah, we'll continue. We'll continue.
Then you have what's written in the Bible. The Bible specifically carries multiple curses. I throw out a number. I think it's right around a dozen actual curses, and then you bring in the plagues and a few other places. So roughly, let's say under 20, but more than a dozen curses that the Lord God places upon people. I contend that this is one example of how the church, rather than condemning the craft of magic and witchcraft, actually tries to take a monopoly on it the way the state does on force. In the Bible, you will also find the word miracle quite a bit. And if you read through the scriptures that contain the miracles, these are magics performed. In one, he turns a whip into a snake. Another is bread becoming multiplied, and fishes becoming multiplied, and water to wine. All of these things reek of magic and the craft. There's nothing in the Bible that...
It is just going to be vibes based. It better not be. It better not be. Because they're arguing practices in dogma, not faith or spirituality. Yeah, if they're just talking about like what the practices look like on a surface level.
I'm telling you, it is like when it comes to Witchy's end, it ends up more or less sort of like vibes based.
That's a little frustrating, but I guess we'll see.
I'm sorry, that's Witchy.
Yeah.
It's priests
I mean, I'm not happy with the Narcan one where I feel like she hit the ball for like half the fucking debate. I'm not gonna lie to you. So
AVG literally tells her that the funding for Narcan is not that expensive to begin with, and it's not even a drain on tax-paying dollars. And then on top of that, it doesn't harm people whenever they use it. The harm comes in if somebody who's overdosing has a dose of Narcan but does not go to the hospital so that they can be treated for the after effects. So her wanting to say that it has to be within a facility and then trying to say that Narcan is like she lied about how Narcan was used. She lied about
my bigger thing was that she didn't end up caring about, like, at the end she's just like, let them die. I don't even want the healthcare workers to come and get. And it's like, well, you just spent an hour and a half arguing about how only healthcare workers should be able to like distribute Narcan, and now, but really you don't want anyone to have Narcan. You just want all the junkies to die. But then just argue that. Don't spend an hour and a half trying to pretend that it's about the cost, it's about the effectiveness.
This is what she does regularly, and she did it with the previous debate before that with the eugenics, where she's just like, if she had it her way, she would rather give 12-year-old boys vasectomies, and she straight up admitted that. It's just like, this seems a bit disingenuous when you didn't want to use this as a talking point. But then again, if you did use this as a part of your argument, a lot of people would probably just say, isn't this a bit preemptive or like bad taste to even do, to just assume like all little boys are just going to harm people even though they're not even adults yet?
I say don't just give them a vasectomy, you trans them. If you trans them, then
they already doing that, Tyler.
You trans them all, though. Then they develop they know what it's like to be a woman because they're emulating one. You know, you trans them all, and then no men moving forward will grape. That's how we teach men not to grape. Is by transing
eating them estrogen.
Oh my gosh!
Hacking their wieners off. Yeah, trans them.
Can't grape with no wiener. Okay, if you think about it.
Hell yeah.
How's it going, Deaconess?
What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, we got a good crew today. I'm trying not to be biased though, because I almost accidentally kicked Darkside Deacon when I tried to turn it mic up. Get out of here!
I'm
usually the loud one.
What was that about not being biased?
But yeah, we're gonna, my only encounter with AVG with Witchy was that one debate. So I'm trying to, I think I'm doing a good job of not jumping to conclusions. Okay, good to see you, Ghost. Good to see you, Lobster. Yeah, this is a kind of a crazy debate prompt, but here we are. Okay, here we are.
God's gifts and being witnesses to miracles,
real quick,
but they do condemn.
Yeah. So I think that the biggest issue of all for Witchy and conflating Christianity and witchcraft is that she is not looking at it from the lens of intent. She's looking at it from the lens of observation. So the action instead of the intent. So performative, right? So when, let's just say, we'll say Orthodox or Catholic, right? Whichever one you want, some of their stuff is the same. When she in the beginning of her debate, she talks about, you walk into the church and you dip your fingers in the holy water and you do the sign of the cross, and then you make your way to the pews and you do another sign of the cross and you bow or you curtsy or whatever. She said all of those are in line with spell casting or like those types of rituals, but she's conflating them with the practice of witchcraft. And the reason that she is conflating them is that she does not understand the true intent of the rituals that Christians take part in. She is pulling pieces of each religion, the ones that she wants, and then she's putting them together, and there is no spiritual intent. It is all about self.
Very Jew-coded, I agree.
Well, she was married to a Messianic Jew.
I think you're dead on. Like, it does seem, at least so far, at least we're only a little bit into it, but at least so far, it seems just like the trappings, the outward appearance, and just being like, hey, these things have these outward similarities, and therefore they're the same. But like you said, the intention is going to matter. What you're trying to connect with is going to matter fundamentally. I think on what your goal is, what you're trying to connect with, like all those things is what's important. Not just like, do both involve incense? Oh well, it must be witchcraft. It's like
Right.
okay, but
And,
I don't know.
and in Christianity, we're told that yes, we do have the ability to connect with other quote unquote demons. They're fucking sorry. I don't mean to cuss. But that's exactly what we're warned against, because if you don't have that connection to the source, and you just have connection to quote unquote a source, you could be directed in the wrong direction. Now, I've watched the whole debate, and that is honestly, after watching it multiple times and picking apart certain parts of it, that as a whole is the problem with Witchy's argument, in my opinion, is that she's looking at observation versus intent.
How do I know direction is the right direction?
So I know it's as right as possible, because that direction in which I'm moving is helping to remove, I don't know how I would say, evil as obstacles. I don't know how to say that, but so like the path that I'm walking is helping to remove all of the negativity and or sinful nature from me.
But
that's the best way I can say it.
Wouldn't you say if there's different, even maybe you call it objective from your point of view, but since there's different competing groups to what is good and evil, that might be a subjective interpretation. And wouldn't you say that even Satanists are doing something relatively similar to that in their own way?
Absolutely not. No.
They just are eliminating what they see as bad from the world.
That's preferential.
All right.
I'm done. I just wanted to say I haven't been able to say that yet, and that she is looking at observation versus intent.
My wife did a lot of work on my background this week, so I just want to give her props. It looks nice.
Hang on.
Your
Make a full screen. Yeah. Oh, that does look nice.
It does look nice. I'm missing the plants that were in your other thing. The nice little plant stuff you had going on.
We have plenty more. They just have they're all spread out through the house now.
I want them in the background, Tyler.
I'm sorry. I'll let her know.
Yes, give Sky my complaints, please.
I'll tell her it's inadequate.
Yeah, it's not enough plants. Okay.
Not enough plants.
By wife, does Tyler mean husband? He is a liberal, after all. You never can tell.
A group of people for practicing the craft outside of the church. So I firmly believe that the church is practicing witchcraft in the day-to-day dogma as well as the liturgy of the Bible. So I don't think that there was ever an intention to stop magic through the church. It was always to usurp it and call it their own. And with that, I cede my time.
All right. Thank you for that, Witchy. Emmet, whenever you're ready, your opening statement, please, sir.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much to you, Avg, for allowing me to have debate on your channel. Thank you as well to
it's Emmet.
Our great
I thought he was hosting.
West, who has accepted us in.
He's debating.
I wasn't entirely sure what was going to be her argument.
Fair. She's not only retarded, but she's a woman. What is?
I went to a couple of them so that I had an idea of what exactly we're talking about. It seems to me
That's
that we're talking about
too.
pretty much neo-paganism and the idea of magic. When it comes to what they do, what they see is symbology, especially, and the idea of this kind of symbology and how it is that we came to the truth, especially from the past to the present. I'm not going to try to say that we are better than the past, which mostly we see the world a little bit different. We have, unfortunately.
Is this too fast? Should we slow it down a bit, or can we all understand? Don't all answer me at once, fellow panelists.
How fast is the recording?
It's at 1.5. Should I turn it down a bit?
1.25.
Emmet talks way too fucking fast.
Yeah, Emmet's too fast.
He's a fast talker.
Unfortunately, thanks to the technological advances, seen the material world as a more lawful endeavor and less of a magical thing. Well, in the past, we had a more of a spirituality, an idea of how exactly.
Hey, Kirky boy, how's it going?
What the fuck, dude? Why didn't you stream last night?
And the idea.
I'm sorry, Kirk. I fell asleep. I started watching the 300th episode, and I was like, okay, I'll stream in like 30 minutes, and then I fucking woke up at like 10:30 at night, and I was like, oh damn
my gosh!
Did you party with your father?
I did see my father, and I came home, and I'm like, what better way to celebrate Father's Day than watching the 300th episode of the Whatever podcast? Desiree Noel was on there, and she would fucking tell me, which is crazy.
Crazy.
And a bunch of other crazy people. Brian lost his absolute mind to the staff. Oh, I almost want to react to that at some point. Holy shit. It was a insane episode.
Was, like he was questioning life. At one point he was just snapping at all the girls, and it's just like, Ryan, why did you do this to yourself?
Yeah, he was like so mad.
He was just like,
I don't know if anyone saw when Priscilla like smoked weed without leaving the door open, and all the weed smoke came in, and Brad was like getting so mad. He's like, why do I pay you? I got staff here. You're doing nothing. You have to take initiative. It's like on air, openly cussing out all his staff.
It was fucking hilarious. He was so pissed.
Brian always has like somehow the most incompetent staff. Like I feel bad for him. I don't know why. I don't know if he like pays them bad or like I don't get why he can't get competent people.
No. It's like I feel like it might be a situation where he overpays them. And they're not taking responsibility and actually showing up and doing their fucking shit. Because that's genuinely be it.
It's like all the people. I think he's had a couple people that like control the cameras and stuff. And he'll be like, bring this up, a simple like OBS thing, and they like won't know how to do it. It's like, Brian, how are you not getting people who like know how to interact with this stuff? I don't understand. Good to see you, Shantae. Desiree didn't shut up until the last 5 minutes of the show. Desiree is a special little butterfly, okay? Desiree needed to talk more. That's my one complaint, okay?
What? Talk more? She talked more than enough, if you ask me.
I'm a big Desiree Noel fan, okay?
You're crazy.
We text in real life, okay?
Are you? Oh my gosh!
Yeah, hey, you haven't seen my interview with Desiree Noel? And I got her on a panel one time. We thought, oh, she's crazy. She's fucking crazy. She's actually crazy.
Freaking crazy.
Abe did it last night. Abe had her last night.
Yeah, that's
what I
was reacting to.
I introduced Abe to freaking Desiree, and he doesn't even invite me. What the fuck, Abe? Tell me the little shit if anyone talks to him.
She was on with Emmet too, was she? Or not?
No, it was Abe. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
no,
they were all on
I think Confluence had a panel, and I think
it was Abe's thing, and I said I could get Desiree, and it was me, Emmet, Abe moderating, Desiree, and then somebody else. That was like a long time ago. Yeah, I am crazy. I'm not crazy. I am jealous. I love the crazies. That is true. Both of those things are true. Okay.
Yeah, I was a little jealous because I wanted on that panel.
We have to talk to Abe. I freaking introduced Desiree, bring her on, and then he doesn't even invite me. That's fucking wild. Wild
times. Would be partaking with him. He's being part of him in a sense, and take that as this is some kind of magical figurehead. But in reality, we're talking about being part of one. So I knew she was gonna bring up the Eucharist in some kind of sense as some kind of pagan-ish ritual that, you know, it's supposed to be a consumption of some kind of human, and not as the great remembrance and the partaking within the energies of God that we ought to do when it comes to it. When it comes to entering the cathedral, entering the holy space, this is once again a way for us to be part and partaking with the church. So the church is true. The people that go into it, that is the church. It's not necessarily the building in and of itself, but the building in and of itself is also part of it because it allows us to partake within the symbology, to understand what exactly is the thing that we are venerating. Okay, the icons in and of itself, for example, we're not saying the icon is God, but we have a veneration for them because there is a remembrance of the person who is considered to be a saint, or consider who is a saint, or in and of itself, Jesus Christ, and we are having this kind of remembrance, this kind of idea behind it, which we are partaking within the community. I'm not entirely sure which were the curses. That was interesting. I would love to know about these dozen curses because I really would like to understand them in a sense.
There's a lot of curses. I mean, she's right about that.
Relation between miracles and magic as well. Miracles, when it comes to God, he has the capacity to do anything he wants. And that is the thing that he can do because he is God, right? So when he has, in the way that the world is created and done according to his will, he has humbled himself so that we can understand him and know him through a miracle. That would be something that has to be celebrated and venerated for him because he is God. But I think magic is the opposite. Magic is the idea, and this is why it's completely destroyed by the ideas of the church. that that you are putting yourself above the creation and the capacity of God, and you are the one who is capable of changing the laws of physics, the laws of logic, so that you can get it. Most of the time, we see that as lying because you don't have that capacity. Thus, it is the reason why we say that the witches are not or the pagans are not part of.
That's true. Emmet still better have maintained that name. Okay, Confluence Junior is one of the birds in the back, and he better still call him Confluence Junior. Okay, you can hear him right now.
You think they're using some kind of superpower because they don't have it. It's more of they're lying to you. So you have to understand that the lies of what they're saying is the capacity that they have. This is why Satan is considered to be the Lord of Lies. Now, as you say, I want to go into this. It's really interesting, especially when it comes to some of the ideas like the liturgy of the Bible. I never heard of that, and I think it's very interesting that you mentioned it. And I would like to have some of these clarifications. So, without further ado, I thank once again both of you, and I see the rest of my time.
Thank you, Emmet. All right, so now we are at the open portion of the debate,
Solid
open dialogue.
I'm worried I hope we go on to define things, because I don't think Witchy hasn't given really a definition yet. I mean, I don't know if Emmet did either, but it's not really his maybe burden to give one.
She's got to prove her affirmative, and then
do you want me to ruin it for you? Because they talk past each other almost the whole thing.
No spoilers. How dare you?
Emmet had a much better
opener. What we're dealing with is just the opening statements at the moment, anyways. And usually, when it comes to defining terms, that usually is when the open dialogue starts.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Is it?
But he was responding to her opening in his opening as well.
Yeah.
He's talking about a lot of things that she mentioned.
It depends on who your role. If you're the affirmative, you absolutely want to clearly lay down your definitions as early as possible and establish them, I feel like. But Emmet definitely cleared the opening on that. He definitely won that exchange, at least there. I just can't get past the fact that he looks like when he grows up, he's going to be the Penguin from Batman. So
I can't wait.
Emmet looks so snazzy.
It's for an hour and 30 minutes. But of course, if you guys reach a point where you don't think that anything else needs to be discussed, let me know. I will start that as soon as somebody starts speaking. This is your time to ask your opponent your questions.
Is it okay with you, Witchy, if we could start with the curses? You're muted, by the way.
Of course I am. Is my volume better, by the way?
I turned it up in the back.
Okay, I also went and turned on the background noise thing. So hopefully I can share this.
Witchy still hasn't learned the tech, man.
Not the best.
Still hasn't happened. That's fine.
She works at Home Depot, bro. She's not going to learn it. Some hardware store. I swear to God, she works at a hardware store. I don't
just
know.
Let me know if you can't. I'll bring it up. I'm just going to pause the 1 hour and 30 minutes because it
should be there.
Yeah. Okay. For all in chat, we're obviously looking at the online King James Bible. Go ahead. The floor is yours, Witchy.
Because they met not the children of Israel with bread and with water, but hired Balaam against them, that he should curse them. Howbeit our God turned the curse into a blessing. Magic. Christ hath redeemed us from this curse of the law, being made a curse for us. So let him curse because.
Okay, some of these that she's reading make sense. Some of these do not. Like the Galatians one is not talking about like God cursing people. There are some that do talk about God cursing people, but that is not one of them.
That's a big example.
It's just like
in the Old
basically she's using every single time the term curse is referenced and saying that this is proof.
Like the Judges one that we see, that one is an example of like God cursing people. Like curse ye Meroz, said the angel of the Lord, curse ye bitterly the inhabitants thereof. Like that is God cursing people. But the Galatians one, like that just has the word curse in it, but that's not talking about God like cursing people.
But you see that she sees all of them are valid.
Right. So what she did was she used whatever app she's using and typed in how many times is curse or whatever. She made that her focus word. So it brings up every single time it's mentioned, not in context, just when it's mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a little telling because it's like there are times, like as we can see, where God is cursing people, but then just why are you reading all the passages that just contain the word curse? I don't know.
She doesn't understand the word curse in context of Christianity. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, not just her not understanding. She doesn't want to understand.
so she doesn't.
At least she didn't read the Balaam passage where Balaam is like cursing people.
It's just like you can try to tell her, you could try to have a genuine dialogue with her about it. She won't. She refuses to understand it.
No, we call that a hardened heart.
In 2 Samuel 16, why is curse capitalized when it says curse David?
I have no idea. Some weird King James thing. I don't think there's any reason for it to be like that. Maybe it's just because it's dialogue, and instead of putting quotes, they just put a capital.
I think
No.
I don't know, because even in
Galatians
Galatians it says, "For it is written." Yeah, it must be, because in the Galatians it says, "For it is written, cursed is it." So it's almost like instead of quotes, they're just capitalizing it. I don't know if the King James always does that or what.
No idea.
That seems to be the pattern.
The Lord has
Honestly, it might just be her app or whatever she's using.
Yeah.
Curse you, Mirage, said the
This
angel
looks
of
like
the
Bible
Lord.
Gateway,
Curse
though,
you,
I
bidden
think.
the
Not sure.
inhabitants thereof.
Oh, maybe
But
not.
be not to the help of the Lord.
With the
Help of
colors, it
Lord
does
is
look like Gateway.
He
Mhm.
shall cause, this is the one you're going to want to focus on based on what I saw of your sources.
Oh,
And he shall
Numbers
cause
is the more
wounds to
important
break
one.
bitter water that causes
She's gonna read the one that people say is like an abortion one, the cursed water. What? That's not. Even in the
It was a mistranslation.
no. Yeah, even in the Hebrews, it doesn't.
Well,
that's
she-
not even what
she
they mean.
doesn't-
Curse, obviously, like in that one, that's a totally different meaning of curse.
Yeah, she's not even going to use okay, go ahead and listen, because the way that the way that she explains this is just disgusting. So keep going.
All right.
I'm pretty
I'll
sure
strap
that
in.
and the
I'm
water
pretty
that
sure that
causes the curse shall enter into
All right, go ahead.
I believe that I think Emmet actually breaks down that specific translation to her as well in a previous debate. And then she's still using it now.
Yeah, and it's odd because, like, yeah, it really is that I think she's just what you guys both said that she's.
I'm telling you, this is
the word
why.
curse.
This is
Because the
why I'm-
Malachi one is better. The Malachi one right there, I will even send a curse upon you, and I will curse your blessings. Yea, I have cursed them already because they do not lay it to the heart. Like that.
Right,
Use
yeah.
that one. Don't read the weird Judges one about the cursed water.
Yeah,
That
but Witchy literally thinks that if a word has a definition, then that definition applies everywhere, and that is her fucking problem. Because she
Yeah.
literally is taking I pinned her on it. You can't look up divine definitions for words in a fucking Merriam-Webster dictionary. Sorry, chick, it just doesn't happen like that. So when you're looking up the word curse and you're just looking for a fucking word, you're not even using it in context. And so she thinks that curse means the same thing everywhere it's mentioned in the Bible, when clearly we know that it doesn't, but she doesn't care to even find that out.
Yeah.
Right, and then like is she just assuming that every time the King James chooses the word curse, it's the same Hebrew cognate
that's
that
God.
it's using?
Yep, that's God cursing. That's God cursing us. That's God cursing us, or God telling someone else to curse us. Exactly.
I think she almost has almost like a predeterminist view of spirituality as well, from how she describes it at times. Where it's just like one argument was that if God provides herbs that has the potential of being used for abortion, why is that available to the people if not to be used for that specific purpose? And it's just like, no.
Based?
Well, I don't think chloroform was meant to poison people, but you know,
I mean, apparently it was in her worldview.
we use it that way. We call that an off-label use. Huh? Imagine that.
Good to see Voltaire and everyone side with Voltaire. Okay, hit that like button. Okay, it helps or something. Do it.
And-
Don't even think about it.
Got another this button.
Well, I want to know which is the curse, because you said that it was during liturgy and it started with 12 curses. So what are the curses? Not that it says curses in the Bible.
He's asking about what
Okay.
I addressed. Yeah, walking
Emmett,
in,
but
dipping your fingers.
Emmet, from what Emmet just said, Emmet did mishear her. Unless I misheard her, I don't think she said the curse starts with 12 liturgies. When I heard her, she said the curse. God's mentioned that God curses people 12 times.
No. So when I first came up, I said she starts off with saying, you walk into a grand cathedral. When you walk in the door, you have the holy water and you dip your fingers in it and you do the sign of the cross. She said that is a a spell casting. That's what we're doing. She thinks that's what we're doing. And then we walk into the church. So we're looking at, or if you can ever been in an Orthodox church, that's what she's talking about, or a Catholic church. First of all, Orthodox do not dip their fingers in the holy water. Okay.
That is Catholic. That's strictly Catholic.
Right. So we drink it. So you go, and then she talks about you go into the church and you make your way to the pew and you do the sign of the cross again, and then you do a little curtsy or a bow. And she calls all of this the ritual practice of casting spells. That's what she thinks we're fucking doing.
No, I get that, but I'm saying her specific curse point, and maybe that's why Emmett's honing in on this, but I think Emmet misheard the curse thing. At least when I heard in the opening, the specific part about the curses was just that God curses people in the Bible, and that's some evidence of like witchcraft. But then Emmet seems to be tying you said in the liturgy that they listed as in curses, but I don't think she made that claim. She thinks the liturgy is witchcraft, but she doesn't think the liturgy is curses, if I'm following her.
Yes,
right.
No, she does. She thinks that we are binding spells when we are making
I don't think she would call that curses.
It is.
Like,
well, yeah, okay.
She thinks
you
the
might be
dipping
right.
of the holy water is like a curse, you know what I mean?
It's the casting of spells, yeah. So, okay, yeah. You're probably right.
Yeah, she doesn't conflate curses with magic or spells.
Well, curses are part of magic.
They are a part of magic. I don't.
Yeah, but it's like a frog and toad thing that all like toads are frogs, but not all frogs are toads, or whatever. However it goes. So it's like curse might be a subset of magic, but not all magic is curses.
A curse is a spell, and a spell is a form of magic. So it's just under different. It's the same category,
right? But they're subsets of another. Yeah, so that's what I mean.
Prayer.
Like all curses might be considered magic, but not all magic would be considered curses. Yeah,
and she's gonna conflate prayer like that, just so you know.
She will.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm definitely expecting that.
I should just mute because I keep burning things for you guys.
Honestly, hold on. The easiest defense here that Emmet could be saying and isn't is that fucking religion belongs to paladins and magic belongs to sorcerers, and they're two different fucking classes. And she's conflating that because she doesn't play enough video games. Easy, done. Debate. She
doesn't even know what a subclass is.
If you want something that's more commonly known, you can talk about the plagues where
I'm talking about liturgy. But when we start in your opening statement, my apologies. In your opening statement, you say, imagine you go into a cathedral, there's a priest, and even before the whole thing starts, there's a dozen curses being said.
So no, she didn't say that. Actually, she didn't say that, Emmet. She didn't say that.
Or
what she's going to be like.
I didn't say that there were curses in the mass. The mass I described, and then afterwards I said in the Bible.
Oh, the Bible.
The liturgy of the saints in the Bible is full of.
So she's now conflating mass and liturgy.
God placed upon humans, the enemies of His people.
Yeah.
Over and over.
This almost annoys me.
The only problem with that is that would be dependent, right? For example, last time we read the Numbers, one of the things that you say is that it refers to an infant inside of the woman, but whenever you read it, there's no infant mentioned inside of a woman. It just says that she will wither within, and it can be done directly.
There we go.
Yes. See, I actually disagree with Emmet on that one. I mean, I don't think it's a thing. I don't think it's like causing. I don't think it's causing an abortion. But
if she's pregnant and she has been adulterous, she will lose the baby. That's what that's for. It's to show that a woman has been adulterous, and she says that it's for the benefit of the man when it's for the benefit of the woman.
Oh, it's abortion with conditions. All right.
Right. That would still be an abortion.
Right, but if
you suppose.
It's not that specific. It's not for abortion. It's to either prove the woman guilty or innocent. That's it. It's not for abortion.
Why does
however, if you cheated, if you are married and you cheated and are pregnant by the adulterous man that you cheated with, you will have an abortion.
Why is the child's fault?
Or you will have a miscarriage. The baby will be,
Okay, there we go.
It seems like the judgment's out on abortion and it's allowed. The only instance where it happens, it's not even mentioned, let alone scrutinized.
Well, she thinks that instance where the woman is being disciplined by God and shown that what she has done is wrong, she thinks that is God condoning abortion. That's what she thinks. And that's not it at all. It's to show a woman that you need not be adulterous lest this happen to you.
I don't say condone. I would say at least let happen without making a judgment on it. And if you're allowing it to happen without saying that's bad, then
I don't know if you're. I think I might be talking past. I don't know.
No, I understand what you're saying. You're saying it's a form of punishment. I'm saying yes, absolutely, it's being used as a form of punishment. And the fact that it's being used as a form of punishment, showing that human rights don't actually matter to the level and degree that people would argue against abortion with today.
I think it's, I don't know. The miscarriage thing is a bit strange because the thing is, so in that passage, if I'm remembering it right, it just says, and I'm not looking it up, so I could be completely wrong, but I think they like take dust off the ground and like mix it with water. There's nothing specific. Like it tells you what is in that thing. It's not like, oh, make some pennyroyal tea or something that's going to, as
Right.
she says, is going to cause uterine contractions. Like, so it does seem something
Yeah, they
spiritual or
have others.
supernatural is happening in that passage because it's just some like dirt mixed with water.
Yeah, depending on the game you're playing, they're called like prayers or like holy smiting. Man, I don't know what you call your spells, but
God
it's not
smote
wizard
people.
spells.
God
Yeah.
smote. Jesus smote people. Like yes, people have been smoked
Yeah.
by the divine one. Like that is the truth.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I played a paladin in WoW. I understand how they
yeah,
work. I
when
got
you
you.
when you
Got
when
your
you go
blessings.
against God, God will discipline you. And so this is his discipline. And if you didn't do anything wrong, then nothing bad was going to happen.
I'm just saying the fact that that is an allowed form of discipline tells me that human rights in this era didn't line up with what we perceive them to in our era.
No,
And maybe-
adultery
Of course not.
adultery is a major sin in the eyes of God, according to the
Yeah,
No, I think
so-
well he means miscarriage because most of us would
But
say
it's
if like a
abortion.
woman's like grapes, we would say, well, it's not the fault of the baby, so we're still like anti-abortion, right? That's
Thank
the typical
you, yeah.
pro-life thing. But
I
it's
think I'm
but in
jumping
this,
around my
it's
argument
like
too
even if
much.
the woman committed adultery, then it's like, well, why would the baby get punished for that, right? If we're interpreting this as like a go and have a miscarriage, if you know,
right. It's
be a
also if your neighbor steals from you, cut his hand off, right? You
yeah, but
actually are not
your neighbor did something wrong, so that makes sense. But in this case, the baby didn't do anything wrong, right?
Why is the baby getting
Hold
punished
on.
for the actions of the mother?
Well, the thing is it's to teach a lesson. So
Oh, I get that.
I would have to. I actually would have to go straight to that scripture to see if that was. I'd have to read it.
I'm saying the
Um,
sanctioning of that particular punishment tells me human rights wasn't viewed the same way during the biblical time. So using the Bible as a canonic source against abortion might be pushing our own modern day interpretations onto the biblical interpretations.
But the woman is the one. Not the adulterer. Hold on. So I get what you're saying, but the woman isn't being graped. She's doing this consensually, and so I can understand where it would also be seen. Okay, so she was the one that did something wrong. Why would the child be punished? I could also see that. I'm wondering. I have to read it. I really would have to read it because I'm wondering if this is in the same sense of a lot of teachings where these things that they're taught don't actually happen. It's fear mongering in the Bible. Right? There is fear mongering in the Bible that keeps people from doing things.
Yeah, I get that. I understand.
Right.
I'm saying the sanctioning of it as
So do you
a
think
punishment.
right? So I will have to read that to see if it's giving a lesson versus something that actually took place, and because it goes from my memory, it goes right along with if you dishonor your parents, that was a death sentence, right? To dishonor your parents. Do you think parents really? Do you think how many children in biblical times do you think were put to death simply because they disobeyed their parents?
Yeah, I'm surprised any boys made it past 13.
Right, but doesn't it say in the 10 Commandments to honor thy mother and father? And what were the consequences of not doing so?
You get stoned.
Exactly. How many children do you think were stoned in the Bible?
Stoned in quite a few.
I mean, stoned with a stone. That's what I
Oh.
mean. It just like that. Yeah. How many children do you think were stoned in the Bible? Because they
In the
disobeyed their
Bible,
parents.
0. In biblical times, probably still very few.
Honestly,
Exactly.
if there were that many kids getting stoned back then, maybe the parents deserve some fucking ridicule.
So what I'm asking is, because I would have to go straight to this source that we're pulling from to see if this was something of that nature where it's a lesson is being taught versus something actually happening.
Yeah,
Does
it's
that
hard.
make
I mean, it's hard to know if this was done, but I mean, the passage. Okay, so it is. I'll skip the others. So it does talk about So this is the test for adultery. You'll bring it to the priest. It is dust. There'll be
Any-
confidence's memory, and then the priest will make her drink it. She'll swear an oath, and then it says, And when he has made her drink the water, then if she has defiled herself and has broken faith with her husband, the water that brings the curse shall enter into her and cause bitter pain, and her womb shall swell, and her thighs shall fall away, and the woman shall become a curse among her people. But if the woman has not defiled herself and is clean, and she shall be free and shall conceive children.
Right. So
It does kind of sound a little bit like miscarriage.
is anywhere in here a specific incident where this actually occurred? Because this is telling you, if you do this, this is what's going to happen to you. Just the same as if you disobey your parents, you will be stoned, which very rarely occurred, if it had occurred at all. So I want a specific instance in the Bible where this act was actually done.
Yeah, but okay, wait, can I push back on that? When we look, like, as Christians, if we look at the Talmud and it says, hey, I'll try to be TOS, but like, if you rape children under 3, it is as nothing. But if they're over 3, then you face consequences. We wouldn't be like, wait, maybe that's just like something that was written, but they never actually did. I demand to see an example. We just see that and be like, that's a fucked up law. What the fuck? Why'd you fucking write that? That's insane. Like, we don't look at other religions when we're judging. We just look at the law. We don't need an example. If it's like a really insane law or immoral, we'll just judge that, you know? So that when it comes to our religion, we're like, well, I need an example of it actually happening. Otherwise, maybe it's just like, you know what I'm saying?
That's it. Lessons were taught in the Bible without these actions actually being done. That's what I'm saying.
But do you apply that to other religions? If you saw something in Islam or the Jewish example I mentioned, wouldn't you say those are horrific passages? Or would you say, well, no, maybe they're just like teaching some type of lesson, and unless I can find a concrete example of this happening historically, I'm just going to remain kind of neutral on the passage.
I think maybe you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are many instances where in the Bible we are told what our consequence will be should we partake in this behavior. This right here looks like that's exactly what it's doing. So all I'm asking for is if somebody wants to use this for the case of arguing abortion, then I would need to see exactly where that took place, because this is simply telling you that if you do it, this is going to happen. Did it happen? And where is that instance? Yes, I'd like to see it.
I don't think... two things. First, I don't think you really answered my initial question, but that's fine. But the second thing, yeah, I agree with you on that point. I don't think you can use this passage to ever argue for abortion. I think this passage is a little concerning because it shows, if this is from God, then it shows God being kind of willing to take out the sin of the mom on the infant. But that's not exactly out of line with some of the other Old Testament stuff, to be honest with you. But I would never use this and like think, oh, this is like, therefore abortion's fine. Because it used to be the case that kids were killed for the sins of their parents down to the 7th generation, right? And then one of the prophets, I can't remember which one, comes along and says, no longer will this be true, but now you'll be held account to your own sin, and it will no longer be that you'll be punished for the sins of your parents up to 7 generations. So in the Old Testament, right, where this is from, because this is in Numbers, right? Yeah, that was the case that like you would get punished for your parents' sins. So I guess it shouldn't surprise us that someone could miscarry for their parents' sins as well. So I would never use it as an abortion, like a pro-choice passage, to be clear. But I also think it is a concerning passage.
I do apologize if I missed your question.
Well, my question was just like, would we hold the same grace to other concerning passages in other religions? Because again, like the Jewish example I brought up, there's a lot of stuff in the Talmud that's like very concerning. We don't have examples of it happening. We just see these horrific laws about what you're allowed to do, that you cannot, you don't have to pay a Gentile their wages at the end of the day, and you can stiff them. But if they're Jewish, you don't have to. We would never say, I need an example in rabbinic times of that happening. We would just say that's a shitty fucking law. You know what I mean? So, but when we're looking at Christianity, we're tempted to be like, well, maybe it's just a lesson and it didn't actually happen. But we wouldn't do that for other kind of faiths.
It's just a little slavery that they endorse.
I mean, actually, it depends on what I'm reading, to be quite frank, because I can't say that I would just not look into that. I probably would, because that's how my mind works, or my brain. But not every time, probably not. But in cases where it could be misconstrued for one thing when it is another, yeah, that's when I'm going to dig a little deeper.
What can I say?
I can't give a straight
answer. How's it going? Haven't seen you in a hot minute.
What up, dude?
You got the moon behind you? Noggins is a vibe right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
How's it going, brother?
Going good, dude. Blessed out here. This city's dope. I just want to comment real quick because I'm I'm walking over to do something, but Christianity is different, right, under the new covenant than the old Jewish one, right? So that's the old Jewish covenant, and pretty sure in those contexts, it's referring to like adult children, as well. At least a few verses you have with that, but under the new covenant, which is Christianity, right? Christianity never promotes any of that, because now we're under grace and we just forgive and discipline our kids in love, right? So
Yeah, I agree with that. But this one is not about adult children. This is about the preborn.
I think he was talking about mine when I said, you don't disobey your parents, otherwise you'll be stoned.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that one as well. That's what I was talking about. But I mean, this
Can I
one's
make
still
sure-
in numbers under the old. This is only for the Jewish people under the old covenant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but some of those didn't. I mean, he didn't change it. He just clarified it.
Well,
Wait,
no, there
who?
was-
Christ?
Talking
No,
about Jesus?
I mean, yeah, Christ took this away.
Yeah, he fulfilled the law, right? And so
I mean, that's why
and
the
then-
temple was like,
And,
broken down and shit.
and clarified certain things like what murder actually means, right? Murder isn't a physical act, according to Christ.
Yeah,
right?
there's murder, but then it's also
Right.
he just basically buried people under self-righteousness, where like they thought that because they didn't murder they were fine, but he's the root and the anger in there is also a sin against God, right? Like holding
It's
resentment and
total-
anger.
Yes,
stuff.
rage. Yes, resentment and hatred towards your brother is murder in the eyes of Christ, and that's why I say clarify, because yes, he clarified that those things were not the order of God. Those were the things the men decide. That's what the people decided to do. And am I wrong in saying that there are many instances in the Old Testament where it seems to say that God did not accept this, but if these people were going to do this, that he put regulations on their practices,
Yes.
correct?
So
Yeah,
there was
exactly.
conditional things that in the Old Testament. Once again, this was only for Jewish people. So Judaism, right? And Christ said that it's not the same as murder. He said it's murder in your heart, right?
Which is sinful, which is going
Right.
against the commandment, thou shalt not kill.
Well, yeah, right. So, but once again, Jesus did establish the new covenant. It's in Hebrews 8 through 12. And Hebrews is a real good book, along with Romans too, about how to operate as a Christian, But yeah, just keep in mind if it's Old Testament commandments, that's only for Jewish people. So like we're Gentiles, so like we weren't even invited to any of that law. It was a specific purpose for the Old Covenant. But what Jesus did was he took away, he finished the work, and it says a new commandment I give to you, right? Love fulfills all the law, and that's in like Romans 13:9. So we're not even, I think, what is it, Hebrews chapter 9, or it's like somewhere between 7 and 11, but it talks about how the writings on stone bring forth death. So if you're trying to operate perfectly under these, under the old law.
Legalistic. Yeah, legalistic.
Yeah, exactly. So, but
Yeah,
But we're in
Good
a
talking to you
bit
guys.
we're in a bit of the weeds, but
yeah, good talking to you guys. I'll see you.
good stopping by, Witty. Thank you.
Yep.
Real quick,
$50 super chat. The stone. Both types of stoning. I don't want to do for $50. Okay.
so
Both
first
types.
off, your example of a religion that did bad things in the past, the worst example is the Jews, because obviously the Jews have never done anything wrong. The U.S.
That's
US
true.
liberty had it coming. Really, honestly,
We love the Jews.
You're asking
We love,
for it.
we love
Did
the
you
Jews.
Did you see that tiny flag that it was wearing in that bad neighborhood? I did.
Making Israel act up.
So I would say that at the end of the day, the argument here is, did this ever happen? And we see all sorts of bad actions using every fucking religion under the sun as a justification for it. I could see some small rural devout community practicing every small lick of the Bible. I don't think we need proof for it, but the way I framed it was the fact that the Bible itself just sanctions it alone, regardless of it's just an empty, hollow threat. The fact that it sanctions it alone is just showing the juxtaposition in human rights from then till now. I don't think we need a specific example. And even if, I don't know if we're going to get one, because paladins and priests don't really use poison. Assassins do.
I don't agree. I don't disagree with Tyler. I mean, obviously, I think human rights have progressed even throughout the Old Testament, and then especially into the New Testament. So even within the Bible, I think that is true. But I also, again, this is just, it's not like they're saying take this herb and do it. This wasn't a sanction to cause this. If anything, this is some like supernatural dispensation that God would cause this. And that's something we just, I guess, accept on faith. But it just says take holy water and mix it with dust. So it would be so much reading into it to say that really by dust, they meant this specific plant that's going to cause a miscarriage. But I still agree with Tyler overall that like even the fact that this was something that was considered that God would supernaturally, fucking gay man an in utero child is a little shocking. But again, not that shocking when you look at the rest of the Old Testament, or especially like the early parts of the Old Testament, because I do think you see a progression of human rights and morality throughout the Bible itself. So, but yeah, well, we've maybe spent too much time on this, but
that she will wither and be barren, not be able to bear children, and she will wither, and it will curse her entire family line.
She will wither, okay? But it doesn't mention there's going to be a child. In fact, it also says that if you drink from the water and you haven't, if you haven't been with the husband, if you haven't forgotten
adultery.
The word. If you haven't done adultery, nothing will happen to you.
He's scared to say the word sex.
Right.
That's how faithful Emmet is. He can't even remember the fucking name adultery. Yeah. He doesn't even fucking know. He's like, adultery who?
He quibbles on the word sex.
But it's attached to a familiar Jesus, through Jesus to God, as a way to protect the rights of the man. Like this is the thing.
We're talking about numbers.
Right. You see how she slipped that fucking shit in there? It's for the man.
The modern day Christian doesn't go straight to God anymore. The modern day Christian goes through Christ to God. For some reason, it switched from the Old Testament to the New Testament, where before you could just talk directly to God, but now you have to go through Jesus or something.
Well, because Jesus hadn't come yet, you dum-dum.
This is what I was
talking about. After eating his body and drinking his blood. Because how dare you talk to Jesus?
Oh, hey, Dusty.
His body and drink his blood.
Didn't mean to click that.
You can talk to Jesus without drinking his body, and it's just you're mistaking some of the ideas with when it comes to the Bible.
Hey, Patrick.
Not the Bible. When it comes to the church,
we got all the cool people here.
The church has a way of doing things which have come to us with tradition, and the ideas
Where's
of them showcase the things that we ought to do as Christians.
Marilyn has been absent.
Don't say her name one more time.
We'll summon
her. Just some kind of physical representation of something that we are doing as a cannibal.
She hasn't been in chat in a while, actually.
The point
of about cannibalism.
I didn't say
anything about cannibalism. It's the symbolism of the blood right. You are meant to believe that you are joining as one with Jesus, who is the familiar who you talk to get to your God for powers and miracles. And
calling Jesus a familiar is crazy work. That's crazy
all
work.
The things heaven will give you.
Well, he's not a familiar. He's God himself.
My cat is Jesus.
I mean, which is familiar.
Oh God! You need to learn what words mean.
You read that in your sources, right? Or did you just want me to read your sources?
No, I did read the sources.
Shit, let me go find my Merriam-Webster.
It's interesting, but fine. Let's go there for a second. What is a familiar? In accordance,
a familiar to a witch, to most witches, a familiar can be one of two things. It can be a source of power. Some people would call it a daemon. Not everybody does. That she communes with. Or it could be, in some cases, they try to say it's a cat.
She said really daemon,
another representation.
D-A-E-M-O-N, which is not the same as a demon and has nothing to do with what she's talking about, by the way.
Well, I don't think she would say it's a demon. I actually don't think she would.
If you go back and listen,
she thinks it's a daemon.
A D-A-E-M-O-N, which is nothing to do with witchcraft. Nothing at all. It's a completely different path. Daemon. A D-A-E-M-O-N is not, well, I mean, if you want to consider it witchcraft because of the nature of it, then yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like it has its origins in Greek philosophy and stuff, but it is still used in modern day witchcraft.
But it's not considered the same thing as a familiar. This is why I know this woman is absolutely ridiculous. She doesn't know she knows very little about each path or religion or whatever you want to call it. She knows very little about it. And then she takes the parts that she does know and that she likes and she pieces them all together in one.
Yeah, I would usually think of the familiar as like some type of spirit companion, sometimes
like a
inhabiting an animal.
The one that people talk about the most with witches are cats. That is a familiar.
Right, that's where the trope comes from. Yeah. There's some type of spirit inhabiting, or inhabiting some corporeal form.
A daemon is actually your guide, not your It's considered to be like your personality. Your I don't know. You know about it, so it's considered to be like a part of your a part of you. It's not something that
It
you
just
go
well,
through
it
to
can't
get a source. It's a part
like you're
of you.
you're not wrong, but the problem is like because witchcraft is so like which I'm
I
assuming you
know,
know is so
I
like
know.
variegated. Like some people do use it in a way you're talking about, like your higher self or your genius, but some other people do use it in just like kind of the same type of thing as like a spirit or some type of like entity.
Which is
So
why
that's
witchcraft isn't one thing. It's a whole bunch of bullshit.
Right. There's like a massive umbrella term of what people mean by this, and none of it's codified at all. So it gets
No.
very
It's
confusing.
it's the witchy religion. It's not
But
witchcraft.
it's
witchy.
what's yeah. But what's crazy is that even under her definitions, that she would then say Jesus. Like if she understands theology at all, even in a small extent, it's wild to then say that concept of a familiar is somehow tantamount to when Christians talk about Christ, which Christians see Christ as God.
Yeah, but she doesn't, and that's why so she doesn't think that Christ is God. She doesn't think they're the same. So that is why in her mind that saying Jesus is a familiar actually works, because she sees them as two separate things when they are one. Does that make sense? So in her mind,
but even still, like maybe you could compare Christ to like a goddess or something like that. At least I would allow that comparison. But the familiar is weird. Yeah. That's just like a spiritual entity that you're like kind of vibing with and chilling with. That's not like if she compares it to like, I don't know, Hecate or something, I'd be like, okay, at least I get where she's coming from if she's all like witch coded.
Okay,
but it's just it's weird with what she's doing.
What she's comparing it to is she's comparing it to a vehicle to get to the source. So what she's saying is you can't go directly to the source. You use this vehicle in which gets you access to the source. But for us, Jesus and God are the source, one source, right? But for her, in her mind, she sees Jesus and God as separate. So by her thinking, I can see why she would think that Jesus could be defined as a familiar, right? Like a vehicle to get to God. He's not God. He's the thing we have to go through to get to God. In her
I don't even think any. I mean, I'm getting too in the weeds, but I don't even think any, or at least most witches would say that their familiar is the tool they use to get to God.
Listen to her.
Like it's. Is she gonna say that?
I gotta stop. I just need to be so quiet because like I'm gonna mute up.
Because then I disagree with her definition of familiar.
Yeah,
it's a really weird definition of familiar.
Yeah. So you're saying that it can be either a source of power or some kind of animal that represents her?
That connects her to the source. So, somewhat like the way Jesus connects you to the source of power in God.
Oh, that is weird, yeah.
See?
Okay, so in your eyes, God is using a familiar so that we can connect to the source of power.
Because right, he had to come in the flesh in order to connect with you, right? Isn't that what your Bible preaches?
Well, I was going to ask you this directly: does the witch use a familiar to connect to anybody else, or is that a way for her to connect to something else?
To the source. Some of us might even call it God or goddess. I prefer just the source because I don't.
It's directed to him, right? Like the witch is using that to connect to something greater. How exactly is God using Jesus to connect to something greater?
God is using Jesus to allow you to connect to him. He is the something greater. He is the source, the one true source. In your Bible, he is the one true God, the one true source.
Can he connect with anybody? Could he connect, for example, with Moses without using Jesus?
Yes, and that's why I said for some weird reason in your Bible, you guys switched from talking directly to God to using a familiar in Jesus as a pathway to God. But for some reason, Moses was granted magic powers to part the Red Sea and pull manna from the air to walk his people through the desert. And he lived hundreds of years. Like,
oh no, Mana mentioned Steelman's gonna get excited. You guys know the manna from heaven was actually the psilocybin mushroom.
Magic. What's the difference?
Well, that's the difference. The difference is what I said at the beginning of. In one case, it's God himself using his power to create the capacity to even challenge the way that he set the universe. In the other is you as a person, the individual, are the one who's using, I don't know how exactly, the power to go against how God set up the universe. So one is God himself taking the power and doing what he wants to do with it because he can, because he's God, and the other is
I actually agree with that, Steelman. It probably was some
power
fun
against his design, which I don't know how exactly would that work.
So my understanding of what you're saying, just before I counter it, so I'm clear, is you believe that a witch is using power to go against the design of the one true God.
What is a spell exactly?
A prayer.
Just a prayer?
Gratitude. a supplication,
For
a
what?
request.
A request. Usually it's a
Hybrid
request.
class, bro.
Supplication.
That's a hybrid class.
I gave you all kinds of synonyms. They all mean the same thing.
So the idea is, because you talk about using magic, and you mentioned the idea of using magic, for example, for Moses. So Moses parted the sea. So what would be the idea of a witch? A witch would like to use magic to do something with it, right?
Well, yes, typically,
Yes.
typically,
Magic is the art of causing change to occur in conformity with the will. Okay, that's the definition.
most of
Witchy,
what
come on.
witchcraft is making supplications to the one source to have the power to do the things I need to do.
Okay. In the
Isn't that
idea
what
of
Moses did? He said to God,
No.
help me, show me the way. And God parted the Red Sea for him, correct?
in a little different sense, but yes, it was.
How? It's
part
a
of his design.
supplication. It's a
Well,
supplication.
the difference is,
Can you prove to me that your God isn't the same one source that I'm talking about?
I think God is
And I
the one
connect
true
with it,
source,
and
but I don't think you have access
see
to
what I
it
mean?
without the idea of the church, right? So that would be the difference. But before we move to that, when you're talking about Moses, and I will answer both. When it comes to Moses, Moses had a revelation. God revealed to him. He said, "I am who I am," and then he
He's
did all
on
things in accordance with
overdrive
his
right
plan.
now.
Moses was being used by God to do what he ought to do, so that we can have his revelation
Popeye
in the
also
world.
said, "I
That
am
is
who I
him
am."
doing
So it's
accordance
very
with his
profound.
plan. If Moses, which he did, okay, he went against God at some point, what did God do? He went on and said, "You will never see the promised land because you went against my design." That is exactly the way that he would do it, because he has the authority to act. When it comes to me, how how do I know that it's not the one true source? Well, God has specific designs on how he wants him to be worshipped. What is the things that what are his promises directly? And he has made the revelation available for everybody. So if you are going against his revelation and against what he has decided to ask of you, for example, go to liturgy, for example, be part of the Orthodox Church. If you go against those kind of things, then at one point or another, you are the one who is trying to usurp his source of power to create some kind of thing that you don't have any authority over. Thus, that's what I was
This is going to
talking
get
about in
so
the opening statement.
ortho-coded.
Once
Well, maybe
I already
maybe
can
that's
see
not
it
his
coming.
plan also. I mean, you believe your God is omnipotent
And unfortunately, it does go in that
omniscient
direction.
and all the omnis, right? So if your God is all of those
Omnipresent.
things, how do you know that whatever power I actually do gain access to isn't only the power he gives me because my will aligns with his will in that moment?
Because you have something that is in accordance to his design, where you have this thing called free will. That is his design that you have it. Okay, and the point
Right,
is,
but once I get the power, how do you know that he's only letting me have access to what power I need to do the parts of what is my will that falls in line with his? Like, you
Well,
really
you
think
don't
that
have
an
the power.
all-powerful God is going to allow me to have access to his very own power in a way that would go against his design, or would it have to be part of his design?
Les Chief, I think I asked Emmet about this, but I think I was also drunk at the time. But I think when I talked to him, it didn't seem like he did think that, because I think maybe you or someone else had told me this, and I was like, that sounds strange. And he seemed to give a different answer, but I could be wrong, because I was very drunk when I talked to him.
I'm saying you don't have the power. You're lying when you say you have the power. It's a lie. And that is the big part of the lie, is you say that. And that's the reason why we are completely against witchcraft, because you think you're full of lies. You come up with your divination, which is full of lies. And you come up with the idea of spells that will use the power of God, but you don't have access to it. So it's
divination is lies. What about the book of Revelation?
Yes.
That's divination. Seers wrote that.
What about tarot cards, Emmet? Come on.
And if God gives someone the power of revelation, who are you to question who God gives that power to?
You don't have that power.
Emmet.
Nobody else.
How do you know? I don't claim to have the power of
power.
divination, by the way. I am not a seer. I've never claimed to be. But how do you know that the women who are seers are not given that power by God? What gives you the authority to say that their power of divination isn't granted to them in the same way that the revelations were granted by God?
Because the only way that you can have said power is if you humble yourself to God, and the only way to do that is through the church. If you think that it's on yourself, if you think it's only through yourself, that is a lie. That is in fact the lies of lies. The idea of I have the power because it's through me would be a lie, because you're not God. You're not omnipotent. The only one who has the capacity of action in that sense is God himself.
So do you believe that wherever two or more gather in my name, I reside?
What does my name mean?
The name Yahweh, Jesus. Where two or more gather in my name, I reside. Wherever two people are gathered to speak of me, there is my church.
Correct. That would be correct for the people who are following his name and who are in accordance to him, Christians.
So how do you know that a coven doesn't hold church?
Because they are not
Have
following
you ever been to
the
one?
revelation of how to act in accordance to Christianity. So you have
this,
to, for example,
this is
you
just
would
all
have
going to
to,
be
you would have to know,
definitions,
you have
isn't
to
it?
be part of the church, not necessarily know. You have to be part of the church and follow the decrees that have been given to us so that
We're definitely getting ortho coded, because if she just means coven as like a group of people gathering, but that's not how Emmet takes those passages. Obviously, when it talks about the church, he thinks it's the capital O Orthodox Church, obviously. So that's gonna be this is gonna. I can divine where this debate is going. Okay,
part of it. The moment you're not following, you're not part of the, you're not in communion with the church. That will be the moment you're
Who
not
gets
part
to
of it.
judge that?
In this
Emmet
case,
does,
it would be church
bitch.
authority. There's other,
Emmet,
yeah.
Emmet.
So humans judge you, not God.
Emmet.
Well, you have to understand that the church itself is a holy institution. So it's directed by Jesus Christ himself. It cannot be corrupted, and it has the capacity to make this kind of judgments directly because it has the authority.
So it usurps the power of God upon itself. The same thing you're accusing witches of doing. And reserves the power of magic only for itself by classifying any witchcraft that isn't part of the church's own craft to be satanic and evil and against God.
No, because magic is self-serving. You are serving yourself with the idea of magic. You're not actually
How do you know that?
In this case, we already went.
that's just Jesus.
Moses and his people getting across the sea wasn't self-serving. It may have been serving God's plan. I ain't arguing that, but it was also self-serving. And in those moments where my plan aligns up with the one source, those are the moments I get to have power to my plan. And that's why I work to align my plan with the one source, just like every good Christian does.
That was directly God showing himself and part of his revelation so that you may know him. And he came to us.
And God doesn't show himself anymore? Or God only shows himself to the people you believe are ordained to receive it? Moses was ordained before God came to him? Noah was ordained before God came to him by the church?
No,
Mary was ordained before God came to her.
That's a fair argument from Witchy. That's fair.
Differences between
That's fair.
what is a now and a then. You're making a fallacy, a historical fallacy, right? In the past, before God
say the word dispensation, Emmet. Fucking do it. I dare you.
Revealed himself. He had to reveal himself. He did it through people, so he had revelation, and through the revelation, he was able to come to grant us the knowledge necessary so that we can become part of the church. And then he built the church for us, and now the revelation is done through the church. So it's pretty simple right now. God is revealing himself every day, and he does it directly through the church so that we can partake within him. So it's not magic. Magic is a self-serving idea. I will use the spell so I can get stuff. In the church is a different idea. The difference, I will serve the church so I can partake within the energies of Jesus Christ.
It's still the same thing. It's still a spell.
No, one you are serving, and it's not self-serving, and the other is self-serving.
Magic. You can't show the difference between a spell and prayer. Are you trying to say something, AVG? Oh, okay.
Nope. No,
magic takes reagents where prayer takes self-sacrifice.
In fact, the basic idea of a prayer is gratitude. You give thanks to God. That's what you do in prayer. You thank him for the blessings that you receive, including being alive, for example. When it comes to spells are not gratitude. In fact, most of them is something that is self-serving. You're trying to utilize the supposed power of God to your own benefit. That is a difference. The other difference is one, you're serving the church. Your idea is I will do what I ought to do in accordance to the church to serve it. While in the other one is a self-serving action. You're serving yourself.
So your argument is ought.
No, my argument is the difference between myself
to serve the church. You literally said it. I mean, your argument is ought. What you ought to do for the church. Here, let me make something clear about witchcraft that you're missing out on here, because witchcraft is a broad spectrum, and the majority of witches that I know, and I happen to know quite a few being one, thank you, but the majority of witches I know practice within a strict confine of do as you must, harm none. And if you don't understand what that means, it means it's not.
She literally got the Wiccan read wrong. Okay, he literally said it wrong. That's not the Wiccan read.
She
fucked it up. She fucked it up.
She says it's so broad, and then she knows what witches do because she is one, so she would know. That's what she says, but she says it's broad. So just like I don't know how other Christians do their things, how, if it's so broad, Witchy, how can you take authority on the whole craft? What?
Yeah, it's weird to argue that's so broad, but then make specific claims about what it is. But I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to,
self-serving. do as ye must.
I don't know if Witchy's even a witch. Okay, I'm just gonna say that based on some of the stuff she's saying.
Used in law.
I think she's a fake witch. I think she's a bad witch. In the same way Testiger Johnson is a bad atheist. I think she's a bad witch.
She got kicked out of
There you go.
Hogwarts year 3 at least.
Yeah. Well, no, I think earlier. I think the Sorting Hat fucking told her to go back.
Oh shit!
Do the
Turn
work.
around.
Shots fired.
The work. You can't just like with prayer, you can't go and pray to God like the priest, oh God, I need a new roof, help me win the lottery. And God finally comes back, well, buy a fucking lottery ticket, dude. Like, you have to do the work in witchcraft, just like you have to do it in Christianity, to supplicate yourself to the powers. And gratitude is part of that. We make offerings. Do you see what everybody always asks about back here? This is my altar to my mother, my saint. And it's beautiful, and it has offerings, and it means something. And it requires supplication and gratitude and sacrifice. We do no difference. The only difference is we in my point of view is we don't think we own a monopoly on this connection. We believe every spirit is connected fully. All they have to do is choose to look at it. And if you want to look at it through the lens of Jesus, it doesn't matter. It's still the same source. It's still the same magic. The difference is I accept that I am here to be God's hand, as you would put it, and I do the work. I have things set in front of me to do as opposed to following my own will.
You don't want to spend your mana on that. It's never gonna fucking work for real.
I am doing the work. I am doing the thing. I got the connection. I am making all this. I don't say I when it comes to me. The argument is not the ought. The argument is you are a self-serving idea. You have a self-serving idea of what God connection or what the God connection to God is, while the church has a different, complete idea. Okay, the church is the connection. We have one road. We have one path. We have to follow said path to have any kind of connection. It is not upon me. It's upon the church. I humble myself to the church so that I can have that connection. It's not about me. I'm not going to get, in fact, I will say whenever I talk to people a lot of the time, I tell them, if you go to church and you become part of it, that your life is not going to become easier. It's not going to be the thing that's going to make it better in the grand scheme of things.
Real quick.
It's harder for you. But you do it because that
If somebody told me that Emmet was going to 11th grade to both learn and teach, I would believe it.
He's the student teacher.
I can't deny that. Could go in either direction.
Is the correct path so that you can take it and you can actually partake with the energies. And at the end of the day, follow and find the fruits of the spirit. But it's not an I thing. It's not a me thing. It's a serving attitude. It's about helping the other. It's about doing what is right. It's about, understanding that this is not my power. This is God's power. And being with him is way more important than trying to serve myself. When you say that do as thou wilt, because that is the same principle, okay? It's pretty much the same principle. It's do whatever you want. If you don't harm anyone, what is the wrong with that? Do whatever you want. In our case, it's not that. It's
See, Emmet literally knows the Wiccan read better than she does. Okay, unironically, get fucked, Witchy.
Don't
I have no problem with you, Witchy.
Emmet's not bad at
Context of the
all.
debate.
what you ought to.
Emmet's pretty good.
That
I
is
judge him
different
on
to serve the
DMZ.
two ideologies and the two differences. And in fact, the fact that we know that there is a big difference between them both shows that Christianity is not witchcraft, because one is self-serving and the other one is fulfillment towards the service of God.
Here's the facts, though. You're mistaken.
Well, Emmet's right. Emmet's right. This is the thing, because a brief history lesson. So Crowley originally said, right, do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. And then when Gardner invented Wicca not very long ago, then he fucking shafted it and made it and it harm none, do what thou wilt, and took out the other part of it. So I don't think he actually did straw man it. I mean, that is the Wiccan read. Right, that's what it says. They kind of just removed the other stuff and just left it as that, and they do usually interpret it as like kind of almost a libertarian thing. That if it doesn't harm anyone, then you can do whatever you want. That is how most Wiccans take that. I don't think that's actually a straw man.
Why did you have to describe it that way?
She corrects him because she thinks she says some other shit. And
all right, we'll see.
Completely mistaken. You keep bringing up the self-service and humble as though witches aren't humble. We humble ourselves only to the source, though, not to man. And God said that. Humble yourself only before me. Do not make gods amongst yourself. He said that. Do not make idols and gods amongst yourself. Humble yourself before me.
He did say be some.
And you humble yourself to a priest. So. Like, you're not
and you humble yourself to
representing
none, right?
that humility only belongs in the church. Humility is part of witchcraft too. Without being humble to what I get the things from, then I'd lose them as fast as I get them, just like in the miracles of the church. And you also mentioned, I think, several times about self-serving. Most of the work of a witch is serving her community. Historically and in modern day, witches were there to provide comfort to the ailing, to give justice to those who felt wronged, and to give support to people who were left by the wayside, like Jesus did, caring for the lepers and the whores.
Yeah, he was using his power to care for the others, right? And he can't have that power.
You don't think that your God is the only one who could be granting these powers to these witches who cared for the self-same people that your Jesus cared for?
And this is the idea, right? It's the snake oil. Is the snake oil salesman. The snake oil salesman will be doing the exact same thing that you say. He will go around selling this magical potion that cures everybody, and everybody knows about it. But at the end of the day, it was snake oil. It didn't mean anything. It was nothing.
Those aren't true witches. Those aren't true witches any more than the charlatans in evangelicals. I'm not bringing up evangelicals against you. Don't bring up the charlatans selling snake oil against me. Come on. The evangelicals freaking speak in tongues.
All I'm saying is the witches are exactly the same. They sell you, let's say that they sell you the idea of we're going to right this wrong.
Oh, really, Emmett? What about the Witch of Endor? That literally in the Bible freaking summoned Saul. It fucking worked, okay? Well, that wasn't snake oil. That was for real.
So then I can bring up the evangelicals. If you can bring
up,
up,
it's okay. I can take them on too.
Who con people and aren't true witches. Yeah. Then you can I can bring up the fact that evangelicals believe they speak in tongues and can lay on hands for healing, and they call themselves witches.
Yeah, they do, and we call them out too. We said that this is not Christianity. We follow a specific idea of what Christianity should be.
We do the same. We call out the charlatans who sell you snake oil too.
Yeah, but you don't have access to the divine. So whenever you make a spell, once again, it's charlatanery because you don't have access to the divine.
Why wouldn't I have access to the divine?
Because the divine was revealed himself in a specific way so that we can take.
I know we're catching fucking strays here, Big Soda, for
real.
You
have access to protect within the energy
from both sides.
All you're doing is I have access to this thing that he himself has said you don't have access to.
Where did he say I don't have access to him? He said, humble yourself before me. When did he ever say you no longer have access to me at all? Ever?
Yeah, well, that would include Jesus Christ because he is Jesus Christ. And he said, nobody has access to the Father if not for me. So the point of whatever he is doing when it comes to the idea of the earth,
you have to believe he says he is.
Church. Otherwise, you are a charlatan because you don't have access to the energies of God at all.
If it's not the energies of the one true source,
I like
God,
that you had to post this here and send it to me in DMs, Esty, just to make sure I saw
what happens is you do something.
You
think
for?
that you are.
I'm sweeping for Emmet, presumably.
It's a fool's errand. You do something else happens,
Emmett's
and then
doing pretty good here.
As a sign
he's not
of
like
the
a
power that you have the connection with. And in reality, that's not correct. It's just something that happened. You are.
If you pray to God for your grandma not to die and she doesn't die, don't you take that as a sign that God answered your prayer?
No, not necessarily.
That's disingenuous. If you pray,
well, I don't think it's disingenuous. If I I don't know, because I mean, then the inverse would have to be true. If you prayed for your grandma not to die and then she died, then it's like I guess you fucked up your prayer or something. Like I don't know. Like it can't work in only one direction. Where it's like God definitely answered your prayer if what you prayed for happens, but then if it didn't happen, then it's just kind of like, well, I don't know. It's got to cut both ways. So I don't think that's disingenuous at all. I don't think she really knows how Christians think and operate. I don't think most Christians would if it's a miraculous, if someone has cancer and you pray, then sure, and the cancer goes away. There is stuff, or you're going to be grateful in general, even if but will you think that it was because of your prayer that God directly intervened in a normal situation? Probably most people wouldn't think that. But would still give thanks to God because you should always give thanks to God. Think about it.
Listen, for a wife, and you finally meet an Orthodox beautiful wife who marries you. Are you going to thank God for your wife?
I will thank God, but it has nothing to do with
because he answered your
prayer. Yeah, see?
No, the prayer
what I was going to say in the past.
The prayer that I should be doing is not about having something in the material state. I should be thankful to God for even being allowed to be here. That is the prayer as you do it. There are some cases that you have some petitions when you say it, but if you don't get the petitions, it's not a sign that God has abandoned you.
What's the name? Casimir. I never could say the name. Polanski Day. That's a sad song, man. That's a sad song.
But if you do get them, you're thankful and grateful to God for it, right?
You're grateful.
And the cardinal hit the window. Let's see.
Because it happened it happened through him. Just like I would be grateful.
Casting a spell.
No, it's the opposite of casting a spell. Because when you're casting a spell, Okay, first, you don't have access to God, so you're not even doing a correct kind of prayer. Two, if it happens because of random reasons. If it doesn't happen, it also happened because of random reasons. You don't have access to God Himself to be saying, "Do this for me."
So
That
God
is
doesn't
self-serving.
for you things happen
When
for
your
random reasons.
prayer and God's
And in
will
your
meet,
case, yes, when it comes to partaking with
that's when prayers are answered, right? Is that and that might be a simple way to say it, but when we pray, if we're praying for something, if it is not God's will, it's not going to come to fruition. The only like prayers of want, like I don't know, you're one out of a difficult situation or whatever, and you're not sure how to get out, and it takes a long time to get out. It didn't take a long time to get out because God was doing something to you. There was something to be gained in there, and in like he's talking about hindsight, right? We're grateful for the bad things too, and I don't think she understands that.
Yeah, I think there's a different mindset definitely at play. Because the way she talks about prayer and stuff is a little strange. I don't know. Let's Chief. There is stuff that which she's saying that I don't think she grasps what most people like. It might apply to some. I understand there's people that anything that bad, like there obviously is Christians. Anything bad happens in their life, it's like that's Satan, and anything good that happens is like that's God. But I don't know if that's like the majority opinion. And the way she's describing stuff feels very much like someone who's like trying to read Christianity from like a very outside point of view that doesn't really understand much of it. Like I'm not trying to be harsh, but it just feels that way. Okay.
Observant rather than intentional.
But there is like, that's true. The steel man can be easy as well. So I agree with that. But I just think what Witchy is saying is kind of a bit, just missing the mark a bit, if you will.
Christianity. If you
we don't do it that way.
And supplicate and petition to God for something that is within His plan,
not true,
and He
Chesty.
gives it to you, you
true.
show gratitude.
No, you don't pray for that. You don't pray for things in Christianity. You pray to God so that He can give you, okay, so
the
he
priest
can
doesn't
heal
pray
you.
for the sick. The priest doesn't pay for the sick. The priest doesn't pray for families that donate money to the church.
Chesty is so
every
gay
day.
pill today. Chesty,
And pray for
go fucking jerk off your gay porn and then go
family
back.
as she suffers through this cancer. And everybody says, Lord, hear our prayers. Am I wrong? Am I hearing that wrong when I go to mass?
We would give thanks to Him in that regard. We would do when it comes to
but you ask Him to
someone sick.
Lord, watch over my sick and ailing parishioner, Lord. That's a
so
petition.
That He can give them strength, so that He can, His plan is His plan.
So you're petitioning Him. That's asking Him for something in the material world.
You're not asking Him for anything in the material world. In fact,
you're not asking Him to watch over this person and give them strength.
The strength that we're asking for is immaterial, right? It's not like we're saying,
Lord, give me.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not Orthodox coded enough for this, and maybe I misunderstand what Emmet's saying, but I don't think there's anything wrong with asking God for material things. Like, I can't imagine maybe I'm misunderstanding because I don't think that's an Orthodox perspective that if you are like starving, and you're praying to God that He'll provide your family with food. I don't think the Orthodox Church is like, no, you're not allowed to make that kind of prayer. I understand if he means like selfish prayers or like stuff that's not in God's will. But I mean, even Christ says, the Our Father, right? Give us this day our daily bread. I mean, so but maybe I'm mishearing Emmet because I feel like, I don't know. The Orthodox on panel, we got Deacon as Orthodox Inquirer. What do you think about that?
So my understanding is when he says materialistic, he's probably talking about things outside of necessity, like food, right? So he's probably talking more about a hedonistic material desire. Does that make sense? Like
if I'm praying to God for like GTA 6 to have a PC release date get announced.
That's absolutely materialistic. Yeah. Yes,
at the same time, if that happens, I'm going to give thanks to God. Okay.
But it's probably wasn't God is all. that's fulfilling that hedonistic desire. So
but it would all be part of God's plan.
In the background. What the fuck is that?
Satan comes in clutch to fulfill desires too. So you have to be careful.
Just look at Testicker Johnson, okay? All his desires are fulfilled by Satan. Yeah, this is what I'm kind of thinking, Brandon, okay? And no PC release date? It's just going to be on PS5 and Xbox, whatever, for how fucking long? Man, sometimes I wonder, is there a God when I hear things like that? Why would God allow for such evil to happen? Terrible times.
GTA is
Need
goy
the
slop.
strength that I need that I might serve you. Are you petitioning the God for that strength?
Yes, but you're petitioning it. It doesn't
And if you
mean
get the
that your
strength,
body.
do you thank God for giving you the strength to serve
Actually,
him?
let's let Emmett finish before. I don't want
That's
you guys over
awful,
talking.
Testy.
And likewise, Emmett, if
It's
she's
the most
trying to respond,
triggering
please
thing you've
let her
said.
respond. Go ahead.
Yeah, my apologies. So the strength you're asking for doesn't mean that your body will be stronger. You're talking about in your soul. You're asking him to steal yourself, which is metaphysical, by the way, so that you can go through life. Okay.
See, it really sounds like Emmett's making the claim that like all prayers have to be for immaterial things if they're supplicatory, and I just don't think that's true. I don't know. Unless I'm like somehow mishearing, but that really seems to be what he's like doubling down on.
Thank him for whatever you're doing, what's happening to you even. It's not necessarily that you're going to grow a third arm. God, give me a third arm so I can be more, you can be stronger for you. That's not the way that it works.
That's commitment,
Witchcraft
Testy.
either. Look, that's retarded to bring up. That kind of magic doesn't exist.
Well, I don't know what
Maybe.
kind of magic does it exist. What kind of magic does exist? Exactly. What can you do with magic?
What do I do with
Oh,
magic?
he's going to it.
Personally?
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
What do you do with religion,
Practice.
motherfucker?
There's many things you can do. You can draw healing and strength from the source. You can offer healing and strength and gain knowledge and share knowledge through the source. And
Can I ask for a blind, beautiful Orthodox?
Well, just a
woman
sec.
to
Just
be
let
able-
her finish, Emmett. Go ahead, Witchy.
no, it's okay. No, I like this question. Go ahead. It's fine. Thank you, though.
Okay.
No,
Can I-
you cannot. Any more than you can
No?
pray to God to give you a specific bride. But what you can do is create a ritual every night where you practice supplication and humility to become open and prepared to accept the kind of wife that the source or husband that the source wants to bring into your life. And it's the same thing you
What kind of witch doesn't believe in love spells? Excuse me, Witchy. What do you even do as a witch? You're just doing religion but still maintaining like a hatred of God. But I would say that what she does is really, it's like reverse. She thinks that Christianity is witchcraft. Her witchcraft is just like vacuumed out Christianity without God in the Bible and everything else.
Yeah, which is what a lot of I hate to say this, but the religious trauma, so it stinks of it a lot.
Yeah, it's like that. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual crowd. You know, it's like, okay.
Because
I
something
understand.
didn't go
Yeah.
their way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Desiree Noel in a sense, that's
Yeah.
how she describes everything. And it's like,
God
get it, for
didn't.
sure,
God didn't answer one of Witchy's prayers, is what it sounds like. I honestly, I think I want to get in the weeds, but I've heard a little bit of her, and she has like a really rough fucking story. And part of me thinks that she might have some of resentment towards God that leads her to reject him. It just stinks of that. Her whole everything stinks of that. Not her whole. That sounded so bad. Please don't clip that. I'm fucking clipping that. I'm going in and I'm clipping that and I'm posting it to my channel.
I didn't even think about it until you pointed it out. It's like, that's a normal thing that Deaconess just said.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think this applies to like I don't think it applies to everyone, obviously, but yeah, with certain people it does, and I hate to say, but it does, you can almost like identify it sometimes, like, because I hate to make that judgment, like to just be like, oh, this atheist person, or just like Tyler. I don't think Tyler is like, I don't get the vibe he's like mad and odd or something,
Right. I don't know. I don't know if she says it during the debate or if she waits until the after panel, but she talks about one of her husbands was a Messianic Jew. She had a friend whose dad was a Greek priest or Eastern Orthodox priest or something like that. And she was also married to a Roman Catholic guy. So practiced Roman
Catholicism. How many times has she been married to various religions?
In Mormon, I think, like something like that. Like she's been like doused with all of this religion. And she has some things that happened in her life. And that's why I say this stinks of either religious trauma or feeling rejected by God. And that's why she's drawing all of these things from everything she's ever been taught. Without God, though, because fuck him. right?
Yeah, but in some ways, it's like I don't know. I get because what she would just say source, I guess, and that's what she means by God.
She doesn't want to call him that.
Yeah, she probably doesn't like the term God very much. Which, I mean, that itself is sometimes a red flag a bit because, like, that's obviously the term most people would understand. And it's fine if people prefer different terms. I don't think we have to be, like, married to a term or anything like that. But, yeah, if you have an opposition or some, like, there's a reason you're going out of your way to make it different than it, like, seems. Yeah, it seems maybe a little.
Source sounds like the Matrix.
And I'm just saying.
Architect speech is about to come next.
I'm just saying that to maybe give a little bit more like understanding when she does talk about those things, because I think that some of that context is relevant, you know, to understand where her worldview comes from and then to listen to her debate it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I see what Testy is saying that, yeah, I don't think we're trying to like say her points are bad because of these personal things, but maybe we're psychoanalyzing too much. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think it's relevant to her points. I agree with you there, but maybe it's some of the reason that she has the points that she holds. I'm not sure.
It's the way she puts her points together is what makes it relevant.
Are you drinking? I have to know. You're more ornery than usual today. Okay.
Do in Christianity. You can encourage women to learn to humble themselves before their husbands.
I mean, I'm drinking a little bit, Testy, so no judgment.
Before their wives, as though they would their Lord, in order to grow closer to the source.
Okay.
The thing is, this idea of fucking Wicked Witch of the West, never bring the witch trials, and they tried to drown or burn them. They would have destroyed villages before they got drowned or burned. Let's just get real. And there's no stories of that, only of women getting burned and drowned. So let's be weird. Witchcraft is a different definition of spirituality, but it's very similar to the church. And I'm not going to throw it out there that it predates the church, and a lot of the stuff the church uses, it stole from it. But let's just be really clear. They practice magic. You have candle magic, where you light candles with sunflows on them. You have herb magic. They literally will burn herbs as they approach the altar, blessing all of you and cleansing you. I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry. You have something to say.
Well, I guess I don't remember that happening specifically, but yeah, there's a little bit of burning, mostly because of scent. Scent will, it's like a very interesting way, and it was sent directly through the liturgy so that we can have him being in adoration as he wants to be adored, kind of thing. When it comes to God.
See, I don't know if Witchy's really articulating this, but I would actually kind of agree with her in some ways that I think the reason that Christians use things like incense is actually the same reason that witches would use incense. I think it's obviously, like, I understand that you could say this is the scent that God likes or something, but who's smelling it? I mean, the people are smelling it. It's obviously meant to draw them into a certain state of mind, right? One of adoration or prayer. It has, like, even why are cathedrals built beautifully? Like, the church is not opposed to like using these mnemonic devices to kind of almost like train the mind to like think of these things. I don't think Emmet would disagree with what I'm saying, by the way. But I also don't disagree with Witchy that I do think there is similarities when you see the same stuff in spells. That's why there's all this stuff repeated. That's why there's incense and certain colors used, and certain, right? They all have associations, and it's supposed to tune your mind to a certain frequency. And I would agree or I would argue that that's what happens in liturgy and masses and Protestant churches and all kinds of stuff. Like, I think every religion kind of does that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, to be clear, but I do think there's overlap there.
I totally lost my train of thought right at the end there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Emmet. Did I distract you?
Can you repeat do you want to repeat the question, Emmet?
No. It's, okay. I don't think she asked me a question. We were talking about, I remember exactly where we're going. When it comes to why witches were burned, especially in the past, and if you look at the way that they portrayed in fiction, the reason why it went all the way through those kind of extremes has to do with abortion. The witches were the ones who most of the times they were the birth mothers. I don't remember the ones that helped the woman give birth. And in some cases,
midwives,
some of them
the midwives,
really evil persons.
Learn English or go back.
And that's why they were pretty much destroyed.
So in some cases, the women would do that. In some cases, priests take advantage of little boys, but we don't do away with the entire church over it, right?
No, but I would be fine by deleting them priests too. Like I would be absolutely okay with putting them on the stake and burning.
Right,
them.
and it would be fine with getting rid of the women who are maybe doing
That's
abortions
true,
that aren't
Halfa.
asked
Good too,
for
by the
on
way.
women. I get that. Evil
No,
women.
I would say even if they're asking for it,
Well,
I would
we're
put
not getting into
both
the
the witch
abortion
and the
debate,
woman
this
in
isn't the
the
abortion debate.
okay.
This isn't the
But all
abortion
I'm
debate.
saying
Let's
is
be
that
clear.
that is the reason.
So you just
Well,
get rid of
the
the ones who do
Okay, just
abortions
a
and
second.
don't
Okay,
demonize
point
them
is-
all, right?
Emmett's got to
Let Emmett
go.
and then Witchy
He's
can,
gotta
Witchy
go.
can make your point, okay?
The point that I was going to make with this is that even that showcases that there's a big difference between Christianity and witchcraft. Because in Christianity, there is a duty to defend the innocent. In this case, the babies who are innocent. When it comes to witchcraft, they have a self-serving ideation in which the woman is the one that decides whether or not this baby is should or not or shouldn't exist. Thus, once again, we're very fine, and we're looking at complete difference in the even in the framework of what witchcraft and Christianity have.
Witchy, please go ahead.
So you made a statement, Emmett, that some of these witchy women who were midwives would perform abortion. So why not just get rid of those ones that would perform the abortions and not demonize the entire group? Whereas, like in the church, we don't demonize all priests because some of them have proven to cause harm to their young parishioners.
Well, the reason why is because in one is the ethical framework showcases that these
Consensus
priests are
collective
wrong,
noun,
acting
Testy,
against
okay?
the ideas of
Just to be
Christianity,
clear.
and they should be punished to the extent of the law when it comes to the.
How much
to the
longer are we
law
watching
itself,
this?
right? When it comes to the layman idea of the church, they should be punished.
The
And when it
whole
comes to
night,
the
Kirky
canonical
boy.
idea of the church,
And
they should be
tomorrow.
punished
Kirky
for heretics
boy.
and should be thrown away from the church.
All you gotta do is steal
We
the
still got-
conversation, Kirk.
Kind of
We
mediations.
still got
In
an
fact,
hour and
when you
20
say there's a
minutes
war of
left,
not
okay?
harm, no other. In
Um,
the sense of the
can we talk about
harming,
something
you're
else?
seeing the
'Cause this is
woman as the
actually
one
kinda
that is being
boring.
harmed by the baby. Thus, the unaliving.
Yeah.
Unfortunately not,
understandable.
Kirk. This is the
So you're trying to
topic
take
for
us back
today.
to the abortion debate.
He
Let me
didn't
make
get a stream
With you,
yesterday,
that
and now he gets this shit today.
politics
Yeah.
process. Do as you will. First,
I'll
harm
give
not.
you a day this week, Kirk, okay? I'll give you a day this week.
Please,
I
can we just
promise.
talk about something else
I
just for a
want
minute?
a day this week. Why don't I get a day this week?
Because I disappointed Kirk. You know, and everyone pointed it out. And it was on Father's Day, and I feel bad.
Why does he get special treatment? Just because
Yeah.
Yeah. I want special
Family
treatment.
dynamic going on right now.
I know.
Well, honestly, any topic you guys want to talk about would be more interesting than this.
I want to talk about this debate. Let's see
I
what
want to
Emmet has to
listen
say.
to them talk about this debate.
Yeah, I mean, we can, or we could pick a different day, Kirk, you know. Oh, wait, well, not tomorrow, but maybe Wednesday, we could pick something that, as long as it's not economics or physics, maybe we could.
Well, we can talk. No, after trivia night Tuesday, we can talk about whatever.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. And even before Trivia Tuesday, if you think about it. Yeah. Video game trivia is tomorrow. That's right. That's something that I would do.
I have.
Well,
I
and
actually
that'd
do
bring a
have
lot of
some.
people.
I do have some questions that I really want to ask Confluence.
Well, you will have to save them for tomorrow. I do want to actually hear the questions, you know, to be honest, but
Please.
I want to keep this. I want to keep this stream on track, okay? Because I only have like 30 minutes, and I want to. Because then trivia is going to be 2, so I'm really just today's the only day I'm going to be able to watch this because I'm not going to like restart it on Wednesday to kill 30 minutes because it only goes for like 2 hours. So we do have to power through, unfortunately, Kirk. I hate to do it to you.
But I will accept that.
Do it,
However,
do it.
a true witch following her craft wouldn't perform an abortion. If she believed in do as you will, harm none. She just wouldn't. So
Based.
what you're talking
You know,
about,
even Aleister Crowley said that no woman following her true will would ever get an abortion. Aleister Crowley, famous bad guy who did a lot of bad stuff. Even he's like, abortion? That's fucking mental. So what does that tell you, people? Okay.
it's just like
Just
you have
saying.
in your Christianity some fucked up cults, like the fundamentalist Mormons or the fucking, what do they call themselves? Brain.
Westboro Baptist.
Those guys down in Texas.
How about
yeah,
this? How about at the end of stream
who
you
thought
let
he
me
was the
ask
second
them?
coming. You Christians have some fucked up cults too. So do we.
Possibly,
Let's just
depending
get
on
that
how far we've gone.
I agree.
So
The
in
difference
general,
is-
a true witch, unless it was saving the wife of a mother who has 5 other children
a lot of
to
bad
raise,
things.
would not even consider taking the life of a baby. She would
Some
help
very
the person find
untoward things that I don't
options
even know if I can
of
say on
placing a
panel
child up for
without heavily
adoption
censoring
or,
myself.
getting help into the home. That would be the more goal of a midwife.
Look up
type
the
witch.
goat story,
So
okay?
the issue
You
you're
wanna hear
talking
one of
about
the
here is
worst
you're
ones.
picking out tiny little sects and saying that, well, those guys are evil, so it's not like Christianity. What I'm telling you is the practices, the dogma are the same, regardless of intent.
Hey,
The
Avery.
dogma is the same. It is still craft.
Well, this is what I was talking about specifically. The dogma is the difference. In the dogma of the Christian ethos, we actually understand those, for example, the Mormons to be heretical directly because of their belief contradicts the idea of the church. One of the main ethos, for example, within Mormon, because I live in Utah, so I know them, is that the churches has been corrupted. That will be a heresy directly. That will be a direct heresy and a contradiction to the Bible, where Jesus Christ himself says that the church cannot be corrupted. Thus, that is one of the big differences. But when it comes to witchcraft, in fact, in paganism is so self-serving that it's very open. So what you're doing right
get on
now
panel
is
so
not
I can
discuss
rip your
fallacies.
balls off.
Oh, these
Okay,
witches
you know
these
you
are not
want
actual
it,
witches.
which
These
is
are
the
bad
sad
witches.
thing.
Yeah,
But in
get up here
reality,
so we can change the
You're just
subject.
begging for ball ripping.
Dogmatism of it.
Come
What
on.
is it? The true core of the belief system. Okay, if it is the case that these witches believe they are actually no harming no one, because whatever the harm principle threshold is, they would be considered witches and they would be performing in accordance to their belief perfectly normative abortions. That is the difference. Okay, in the way that we look at the world, when it comes to the dogmatism, how is it that you are Christian?
I have a
How is it that
non-gay
you
crush
partake
on
in the
Emmet.
enemy?
How dare
How
you,
is it?
Avery?
It's a
How
completely
You're talking
dare
about
you?
ideologies. I'm talking about dogmas. So the ideologies
Yeah,
are very different between many different types of witchcraft and many different types of Christianity. In each
Okay,
type of Christianity and each type of witchcraft, the ideology is different, especially when it comes to things like abortion. However, I'm talking about dogma, the practices, the use of spell casting or prayer or supplication or petition, the use of candle magic, flame magic, the use of water magic, i.e. holy water, moon water, the use of blood rites, which to me is black magic. But I mean, y'all think that's okay, like to consume the body and the blood, even if it's in symbolic way, to me is that's why I left the church. That's why, even though I was
What a
confirmed, I only took
pansy.
communion once.
What an
And
absolute
never did it
pansy
again.
Witchy is. Come on.
Okay.
It's not for me. Black magic is
No,
different.
yeah. Well, as I said, the difference is how is it that you are doing it, right? Because if you look at the reasons why you do it, even when it comes to the Christian idea, it comes from a tradition, a specific kind of tradition, and it is a specific kind of way in which
Anytime,
you are
Dark Side
breaking
Deaconess.
bread
Take
with
care.
God Himself, and you are partaking within the energies. You are not. The point is not to consume Him as if it was some kind of cannibalism. That's why I brought it up. I'm not saying you did. I brought it up. Okay, the point is to
Kirk,
actually
this is a good
partake
old-fashioned
and be
religious,
part of,
debate. Okay,
of the grand scheme of the family.
just because it doesn't
That's what blood
involve
rights
the
are for, by the way.
Noahides. Okay,
That's literally
Blood
what
rights
blood
are
rights are
So you
for.
just
Are
want
Connect
to
you with
not
the
give
host,
gravity.
whoever gave the blood and the body. And you're doing it to feel connected with, to break bread.
I mean, this
with
is
Jesus.
killing me.
Yeah, well,
connected.
the idea is the Last Supper, right? You are breaking bread in a supper form.
Magic.
That has nothing to do with magic. Do you break bread? Do you
No.
perform magic when you're having some kind of supper with your family?
oh,
That's
seven,
an actual
Skylar.
supper.
Oh, sevens.
You're having to take and imagine yourself being connected to Jesus through this wafer. That's basically how magic work manifestation. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely everything you keep telling me is more magic that's done in your church that you're trying to say doesn't do magic. And you want to say it's traditions, but mind you, my traditions, the ones that I follow personally, and a lot of the ones throughout paganism and witchcraft in the broad spectrum that it is, outdate yours.
Well, unfortunately over here. This is why we don't. This is why we don't talk directly about this when it comes not to priesthood directly, because priests are the ones who know these kind of terms better.
How
You're
much
talking
longer
about
are we going for?
Catholic, Roman, or the Roman
Another
Catholic
30
doctrines
minutes.
when it comes to
Okay, can I just please ask my question? Please, it's killing me.
transubstantiation.
Brrr.
Whatever.
A lot of Protestants do
Just
it too,
okay,
and
Kirk.
they just
I'll
do it
make you a
like
deal.
I
Okay,
every week.
we'll watch another 20 minutes, and then in the last 10 minutes, it'll be a free.
No, just tell me. Just please, just let me ask the question. Just please.
No, it's got to be cohesive. It's got to be 20 minutes, and then at the end, okay, at the end, I'm trying to meet you halfway, Kirk.
You said
I'm trying
no.
to meet you
You're
halfway.
ending because you're ending in 3 minutes anyway. So just let me ask the question.
No,
real quick.
I said 30 minutes. So I said 20 minutes of watching, and then 10 minutes of the question.
No, I'll just ask it now, and then we can watch.
No, Kirk. I'm
Okay.
sorry. That's the best I can do. Okay, I'm trying to meet you halfway.
I
Right.
understand that, but that is an
You just gotta
incorrect
hold out
way of
20
looking at
minutes,
the
Kirk.
Eucharist. And how is it that you
Yes, this is
partake
the
within the
question.
energies? This is why, as I said, this is one of the reasons why. We
No, I
don't
have a question
actually
about statistics.
Take this. This is why the debate
Okay, we
in
will get
itself
into it.
loses coherency if we are just opening up to anything that say I'm Christian will be Christian.
Kirk, I have a brief question for you. Have you ever played the hit video game series Donkey
No,
Kong? Quixote?
if you're gonna ask me an off-topic question, I'm just gonna ask my question. So, you
Just tell me if you played Donkey Kong Quixote. The hit
no, I haven't.
It's
and
an
did
ES
not- no,
title.
no, I haven't. But since you asked me the off-topic question, I should be able to ask you the question.
No.
And this is the same thing that I'm talking about when it comes to everything I say as witch is a witch. The only
We're
problem,
almost done the good
which
part,
is what you
okay?
said, right? This
Which is
will
what
not
I
be a correct
saw.
language. Fine. The difference is in the Christian dogma and doctrine and the ideas behind it, we can find a historical foundation that is being followed for thousands of years at this point that lead us to the capacity to understand the revelation and partaking within the energies in a way that is still being revealed and still being taught correctly. When it comes to witchcraft, especially the new forms, there are very new forms. A lot of them, by the way, connected to the Mankind Project, and they all follow a very self-serving attitude.
Mankind. Emmett's been talking too much to Avarice. The
any kind
Mankind Project
Well,
is pretty niche,
statistics
I
can
think.
be-
In
well,
the
statistics can actually be
you guys have been
deeply
talking about the word magic a
philosophical.
lot, and I haven't heard a definition from
Just
either of
like
you
Kirk.
on that.
We will,
Is
I
that something that
promise,
you
we'll
guys
spend
can
the
get
last
into,
part
please,
of
for
the
the
stream.
benefit
Good to
of
see
also
you,
the chat
Keelan.
who is watching and confused?
Sure.
Would you like me just to bring up the? I have Merriam-Webster open.
You're on the
Would you
affirmative.
bring
I
up-
would appreciate that. Yeah,
I
and then
can do
Emmet can
that.
provide his definition after.
Oh,
I already have spell pulled
an
up.
hour
Let me
into it,
pull
we're
up
finally giving a
magic.
definition.
So I had
Jesus.
spell and miracle ready. I didn't have magic ready, but give me a second.
Are we
Thank
using
you.
the definition from the Merriam-Webster?
Yeah, just because it's simplest, and then at least we're agreed on terms, right?
Mhm.
Let's see, go.
Nobody has to agree, by the way, on another person's term. If you do, that's great, but you don't have to. If you want to provide your own definition, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, this is just basically.
You want me
so
to
the
pull it up?
chat- I've almost got it.
Just let me know if you want me to, Witchy.
Can you see it?
I can. So everybody in chat, we're looking at Merriam-Webster dictionary online. Witchy, please present your source.
So this is Merriam-Webster's definition of the word magic: the use of means such as charms or spells believed to have supernatural power over forces, magic rites, or incantations. An extraordinary power or influence seemingly from a supernatural source. Something that seems to cast a spell, enchantment. The art of producing illusions by sleight of hand. I don't think we're really
We're
using
just
that
reading
last one,
all
but
the
certainly,
reading all of
miracles
them.
are extraordinary power seemingly from a supernatural source, right? The miracles of the Bible and magic rites or incantations. They make an incantation over the Eucharist as a rite or ritual, right?
Correct.
Or am I wrong?
No, yes. So what you're mentioning is actually the use of power. So you are using supernatural forces to have a capacity over the natural force. And you're saying, well, it's the same thing that God does, except the fact that
If she
God
scrolled
has
down, she would have
God
said that
force
one,
or
Daniel.
Supernatural force is not actually
Magic.
supernatural. It's part of his nature.
Card game
He
invented
has the
by
capacity
Wizards of the
to
Coast.
do that because he has the authority of it. He
Priest
can do whatever
drawing
he
down
wants.
his power. His power is
No, you don't.
supernatural to the priest, and the priest, by doing the incantation, is drawing down the power of God to do his will and create the Eucharist.
No, the Eucharist
Yes,
is not a
he literally
creation.
says.
This is I told you already. We don't believe in transubstantiation. It has nothing to do with him creating
Ooh,
something
Emmet.
divine.
Ooh.
The partaking of the energies is not is
He's
a
probably thinking about
divine
you when he said
action.
that.
It's not a creation of
Probably
divine.
was.
Whose energy is it?
No,
The partaking of the energy. Whose energy is it? It's God's energy, right?
I knew it's
And
gonna
who
happen.
directed that energy into the cup, into the
No, we're
chalice?
not talking
to be
about
prayed?
energies as what you're thinking
You
about.
said
Energy,
you're partaking of the energy. That's what you just told me.
no,
Your
No,
word.
he means energy in the
God
Orthodox
we're
context.
using that word as a fallacy. Okay, sorry. So this is complicated metaphysics. Okay, I'm trying my best. The partaking of the energies when it comes to God is you have access to his essence in a way. You will be able to partake with his spirit. Okay. It's
Okay, how did you get that access?
Let's just let. Are you done, Emmet?
No.
Okay,
so
please.
the way that you have access is thanks to the sacrifice of Jesus Christ and through the repentance of the sins and through the capacity that we have in liturgy to be closer to God. He has allowed us by partaking within the Eucharist to.
I don't know if Christians really talk about it too much, but just that he was not the chosen son and that he, did wrong and that he went off and Isaac got the lineage instead, but I don't know. I know in Islam, right, they connect Ishmael to, everything else, but Ishmael's kind of like a side character, not really thought about. It's kind of just like, well, there's two or more sons and, Jacob was chosen, Ishmael was not.
And then the Bible just moves on.
Mm-hmm. Or not Jacob, sorry. Not what Isaac.
Yeah.
Jacob
share
was
a common
Esau.
space so that we can be, in the very literal sense, close to him.
So that's more commonly Amalek. Are you not thinking of Amalek? Because that's more commonly seen as like the type for the flesh. Like maybe Ishmael is too, but Amalek is like the one that's like taken as like the main symbol of like the flesh. So that's why it had to be like cut off completely, and that's how Christians will see the genocidal passages of like Amalek being completely destroyed in the same way that we have to like destroy our flesh completely. Well, the theory is that he makes up the Muslims, but I don't know if that's not really in the Bible, obviously. But
that is the idea of the partaking within the.
They had to write
it's not some
themselves
kind of
in.
magic when it comes to this. It has to do with your spiritual well-being and the connection you have directly to God. He's
So
not
then anyone can do
making any kind of something. Yes, anyone can do it. You
don't need a
anyone can
priest.
become an
Anyone
Orthodox
can do it.
Christian. No. Anyone can become an Orthodox Christian. Anyone can be baptized. Anyone can be adoring Jesus, adoring God in the correct way. And then, thanks to that connection that you have in the church, be closer to him.
So if you're given this connection through Jesus Christ, yes, right? The sacrifice of Jesus Christ is what gives you this connection, correct?
Through the remission of the sins, yes.
Then what is
Testy, should I have gone over that super cool debate about tipping culture that you lost to a woman, Testy?
No.
Is that what you wanted? Okay, I could do that.
You are
do that on Wednesday. Don't threaten me.
Why are we not watching
You
that?
weren't good enough to perform that adoration on your own.
You probably will on Wednesday, to be honest with
in
you.
order for you to have that connection with God, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So you literally have a familiar between you and Jesus, and then Jesus between you and God in your supplication.
You don't have familiar. You have a way to have the connection in accordance to what God wanted. How do you know how God wants to be adored? How do you know what kind of connection God wants out of you?
Because he told us very clearly in his own words.
Where?
The Old Testament.
The Old Testament. Okay, and who are the ones who have the tradition and who have continued to do the correct form of adoration for thousands of years at this point?
Every human being that is born under Adam and Eve as the children of God.
The children? How do you know it's the children? In which part of your revelation, especially in the Old Testament?
Well, it's more just like how a lot of these things are seen, at least in like presented in the Old Testament, right? It's like it's very like scarlet thread coded, where it's like that's why we even see in like Jesus's like narrative story, right? It's like it's all these famous names that we've heard of, right, going back. So it's like there's this like thread that's like interwoven, and so yeah, that's kind of what happens with all like what happened to Esau's kid. Like I think we hear about them, the Edomites, but it's like they're kind of just like side characters at that point, right? So it's like the Bible's like following the certain lineage of the chosen people, right, which eventually culminates in Christ's coming. So it's like that's kind of the idea. So it's not like the other people are just like gone. They're just kind of mentioned tangentially. Like I said, like with the Edomites, they still exist. They're still a people group, but they're just mentioned here and there in different passages. And the story is like obviously focused on this like this thread that's kind of running through the Bible. So I don't think it's not meant to be like these people just like stopped existing or anything. They're just like not important to the story that's being told, which is of God's chosen people culminating in Jesus Christ. I've never heard a Christian say that. I don't know if Christians would give much thought to it, to be honest with you.
Can we go there for a second?
Do you know what begats are?
You have to remember that I'm Mexican, and I read a lot of
So
this
it's
in
the
Spanish,
genealogy.
so I'm not entirely sure what you mean by
It's
that.
the genealogy of humanity in Genesis. So and so begat,
Okay.
so and so begat. So it's the begats.
Okay.
I didn't know what the fuck she meant by that either, and I was just talking about genealogy.
That doesn't tell
To
me.
prove that we're
that
all
doesn't
descended
show-
from Adam and Eve. Like,
Yeah,
otherwise creation isn't real.
but Adam was created. No,
Maryland
Yes,
coded.
my God. Right,
Yeah,
but
but
we
that
are
doesn't make you a child.
really. Oh,
Yes.
I think he says some suffer the children for they are my children. I can't remember the exact.
Have a
word.
source you'd like to bring up, Witchy?
No, because
No,
this wasn't part of my plan. We've gone in a whole different direction where he's not even argued any of my points about the magic being done in the church. All he keeps going to is
Well,
never heard them
as
called
these
the
witches have
begats
supposedly
before.
done.
Okay, so
Well-
stuff happens during a debate, but if you both are agreeable,
yeah.
you can bring up on the spot sources, but only if your opponent is agreeable. This goes in both
Yeah,
directions.
that's
Do we
fine.
need to see
We
the
can,
begats Like, really?
No, I don't
I
need
could
to see
take
the
forever.
past. I know what you're talking about now. It's fine. If you wanted me to contend with the idea of the spells or magic in the church, fine. I can do that. There is there's no spells
Oh, that's
being
why
done
you're
directly
Ishmael coded.
when it comes to that. I told you already. We give adoration, we give thanks. We don't perform things that would be for us, which is the thing that it needs to be. We're not trying to, in accordance to your own source, we're not trying to use some kind of supernatural power to overcome any kind of natural force. In fact, we don't do that. We thank
Emmet,
God and we try to.
Oh, this is where it gets into the is this supernatural?
gratitude isn't unique to Christianity. Gratitude is very strong in witchcraft too. But to get back to the point of when you say that you don't do spells, you don't do prayer, you only give thanks and show gratitude and be humble. Have you ever gone into a Catholic church, and any kind of church actually, because a lot of the Protestants do this too, and lit a candle for somebody?
Yes, okay, what do you both define as a spell? What do you both define as a prayer? Since you're arguing about it, I think it's time for another definition explanation, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, you should, Keelan. You should.
I agree with her idea of the spell. It has. I will use the first one. The use of means.
If he's available, I mean, get him on now.
Any kind of means to have supernatural power over natural force. We can agree with that. When it comes to prayer, let me go through it real quick.
That was magic, not spell. Oh, here's spell instead.
I think. Are you going to present first? Who's presenting?
Well, he's got it. I got it too.
Yeah, I got it. We can go here. We're using Merriam-Webster. We both agree to Merriam-Webster. And address such a petition to God or God in word or thought. So the words used in prayer, earnest request or wish.
A petition to God. You just said you don't petition him. It's a petition to God.
Well, I'm just putting up the definition. A religious service consists chiefly of prayers, often used in plural. Something prayer to wish for and a slight chance. So this is unfortunately this is not in accordance to what we consider to be prayer. I will define it. If you disagree with it, it's fine. Prayer would be to give thanks to God and to entreat or to ask Him for the strength that you need so that you can serve Him.
That would still be a petition.
Okay, so we're going to agree that you entreat God. We're just not going to agree.
That would still encompass,
right?
encompass
so let me show you the definition of a spell,
definition one.
real quick, so that you can see why I say. I mean, they're basically synonyms. Screen spell.
Okay. You obviously didn't tell him how incredible the conversation would have been, Keelan. Okay.
Enchantment, a strong, compelling influence or attraction. So your prayer is a spoken word or form of words.
No, it's not witchy. No Christian would say that. No one would say it's a spoken word held to have magic power.
Magic is to use something supernatural to have power over the natural world.
Right. God is supernatural, isn't he? He's supernatural to you.
Yes, that's correct.
So you're using God through prayer to accomplish something in the world. God, please help my grandmother.
No.
It's a prayer of supplication.
That is the difference of what I was talking about, right? In the way that we look at things is we thank Him and we may entreat or we may ask for, so that our soul can sustain the problems of this world. We're not asking Him to change or to overcome the nature. It's the opposite. We're asking Him to allow us to be to go through these challenges so that we can actually do what is right and at the end of the day be with Him, which would be the idea of heaven.
So you pray to Him.
I don't know why Emmet's like
humility,
it is a petition.
One day,
I don't know why Emmet's committing to like not being a thing. I don't really understand that part.
Yes.
That sounds like a spell. It sounds like you're asking for supernatural powers to control something on earth. You want the strength and the wisdom to serve His will.
Through natural means.
It sounds exactly like a familiar,
Through natural means. I don't need to fly. I just need to, be able to do what I need to do.
Don't fly either. Again, you keep going to these Disney witch ideas that aren't real.
I know. Okay, it's like
you ever seen somebody flying on a broom? Emmet, because I have.
Yes. Simon was. I don't know if he's considered a saint.
The symbol of the broom was given to the witches because cleanliness. Because witches were mostly midwives and what they call hedge witches, which meant they dealt in herbs and stuff, and they cared about sterility. So broom came to the witch for the idea of cleanliness is next to godliness. And so nobody flies on a fucking witch. I mean, on a broom. No witches fly on a broom. That's bullshit.
If we go through that,
bullshit.
Okay, just a second. Witchy, are you done your point?
Yeah. If we go through that, the idea of the witch.
Do you want to do the grist real quick?
Really?
EBG?
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
gonna-
okay, well, I
I'm
was
going to
gonna
read
point
the
this without
questions and answers after we finish
Abba.
closing statements. The super chats will be prioritized.
So
and
you're
then I'm
being
going
fair.
to pause.
That's
Everybody
fine,
can
and
use the
do
loo
it.
and grab a water refill if they would so like, and then we will open up the panel. Okay, that'll be the format.
Right. So the idea, if we're gonna go through that, right, is like that the idea of the witch was given to the witch specifically because she would go on and sacrifice the younger for her own beauty. That is the main idea of the witch. If we go to the historical ideation of what a witch
The
is,
devouring mother
Chancellor
archetype.
Greta is a good example. There are
Mhm.
others, but the witch was that will sacrifice the young for her beauty and her longevity.
And
Um,
that's all fictional. Let's be perfectly clear. Glamour
well,
does
it's
exist still
completely
today.
fictional that
Glamour
they can
magic
fly
is
on a
used.
broom.
Glamour magic is used right here on this panel. ABG loves her Chanel. That is glamour magic. You like to put on your
Like to the
face
mockery.
or your what's that thing you do, the emo
Moderator gets
Emmet
shot.
thing in your makeup? That's
You mean the
glamour
joke
magic.
about being goth?
I'm saying it's glamour magic. That
Emmett
is what
does
the
love
glamour
his
magic
goth
was.
makeup,
Use
okay?
of ways of
Rose come up
fooling
with
people
way
into
too many
thinking you look
excuses to
different
have
than you
to
really
wear it.
do.
Do we have a
So
source
it's
for any of
fooling.
this?
You see that magic is fooling. In fact, it's a fool.
Well,
Sir.
yes.
That
So
God
it's
doesn't
pretending
lie.
that wine and bread is Jesus Christ's body and blood. You're fooling yourself. Come on.
No, you are
Illusion.
partaking
Like
with
we
it.
have
It has
illusion
nothing to
in the
do with
definition
that.
of magic.
Yeah, we do have illusion. Okay, the difference is very simple. I told you,
You didn't
magic
actually
is
eat
the
any
use.
babies. Eating babies would never
Right.
make you look younger.
Let's let him finish. Go ahead, Emmett. Finish your point.
That's not the idea. I will explain that in a moment. But let me go through the other part first. Magic would be the use of lies. That's what I said. You are lying. You are
You're not
portraying
worshiping the
something
wine or the
untrue.
bread.
That
Keelan.
is magic in and of itself because you don't have access to any of the power. The only one who can use his power in any kind of supernatural way, if he wanted to, will be God himself. So
Well, I
when
guess
we
you did
are
say
giving
this,
ourselves, when we asking him, hey, give us a strength, hey, allows us. It's not about we are going to have something supernatural change the way of our lives. In fact, we don't. It's like, hey, give me the power so I can get up, go to work, do the good things for my family, do the good things for the people around me. That is the idea behind it. Now,
And those things are symbolic, right, Emmett? Those things are symbolic,
they're
not
actual.
lies. They're symbolic.
actual.
No, the prayer
They're
to God for
actual.
help is symbolic, not a lie.
It's actual.
He
It's
actually
true.
comes and helps you.
Yes.
So then you don't
Especially
need
if
the
you are in
priest.
the church. Well,
We've
what
already
do you mean
established
that the idea? I told you the idea of the church. The church is the way that you are being revealed. The revelation comes from God directly, and He uses the church so that you can get a revelation of how He wants to be adored, how He wants you to act, how He wants you to be, so that the partaking within Him can be actually done. That is
So,
the
so magic
revelation.
is okay as long as you allow that the church
Magic-
has let me put magic is okay. Miracles and supplications for healing, all of that is magic. It's the
Okay,
same
now
thing
can I ask my
you do.
question?
No, it
It's
isn't,
the same,
because
and
it's
it's
true.
okay so long as it's done
Give
within
us
the confines
a
of the
bit
church.
longer.
because the
We're almost
church has
caught up
a
to where I started
monopoly.
watching, and then I
It's not
watched
no, because this
most
is
of
not
the
an
rest.
illusion. This is
Yeah, I think we're
The
actual.
church
almost
has a
done.
monopoly on the
Truth.
connection to God. That's the difference.
But I'll give you your 10
So
minutes.
witches are
I'll give you your
lying
10
about
minutes.
having connection to the one true source,
Yes.
whereas the church is telling the truth.
Yeah, because
So
we
it's a
have a road.
subjective difference and not an
Yes,
objective.
because we have a no. It's an objective one
you
because
said
there
you-
is a revelation.
Yeah, bro had a
It's a subjective
timer.
difference, not an
It's an
objective
objective one.
But we're
okay?
almost
The object of
right
who
caught
he-
up.
how he wants to be. The object of who and how he wants to be
'Cause, yeah, I
adored is
came
God.
in-
He has made a revelation. He has decided how he wants it done.
We'll give
And
5
you are
more
the one who are
minutes, and if we
subjectively
haven't caught
pretending-
up, then we'll go.
But
And
you
I'll
are
get
the one
10
who are
minutes, okay?
subjectively pretending that your idea is the correct one and not the one set up by God Himself, so that you can partake with the energies. That is the
No.
difference. That is witchcraft. Witchcraft is the lie that you on your own can have this magical connection. And I'm saying, I'm using not a magic definition, but a colloquial sense of magic. You can have this magical connection to God that you can use His power in accordance to what you want, in accordance to your own way of praying.
You just said you
instead of
could. He
humbling
will give you
yourself
the
and being
energy if
part
you pray
of.
for it. You just said he would give
Good.
you energy if you pray for it. That's your connection to God through the church.
You would do it in accordance to what you ought to do it, so that you have actual
Ought,
connection. that you
again,
I
get
think
it.
this is probably Witchy's
Your argument is ought
strongest point
and-
here.
Not, yes.
And subjective.
It's not a mere
No
statement.
objective difference between
She's
the
been
magic
picking up to it.
other
Yeah.
that you believe is one
I
is
don't know
ordained
what
and
the
one is
point
not.
of. I'll have
Okay,
to talk to Emmet
this
about
is
this because he
very
asked me to give him his
simple.
thoughts on
Because
this
I think you're
after.
having a problem with the
Don't know
definition of
why
ought,
he's
so I will
committing
define
on
it for you.
this.
Ought is doing in accordance to what is good. Okay, when I say I ought to do it, it means I'm doing in accordance what is good is God to what God has revealed of Himself. So in accordance to Him, so that I can actually take and partake within Him. Otherwise,
ought
it's a
means?
me.
It's
Wait,
subjective.
otherwise,
Good is
otherwise,
subjective.
otherwise, it's a
I think
me.
Emma's doing a
I
bad
do as
job
I
letting
pray
her
for you,
control the
as
realm
long
of the
as I don't
debate.
hurt anybody, for example. Okay, and that way I have the final
Yeah, it's kind of,
connection to God in accordance
going
with
all
what
over
He's
the place.
taking
I
him off
want.
on these weird
That is the
tangents,
difference
and
between
it's like
Christianity
he's
and
not able to drill
witchcraft.
down
Witchcraft is
on
a
what
me.
he should.
I have the power.
Yeah.
Christianity is the opposite. Is you lowering yourself, humbling yourself to God, so that you can partake and do what is right in accordance to Him.
I can't
Sounds like
I can't draw
trouble.
power from the source if I'm not humbling myself to the source any more than you can from God. The difference is you humble yourself to the church, not to God. You just said yourself, nobody gets to have a direct relationship with God except for through the priests, because the church is God on earth, right?
The church is a God institution. It's a godly institution set up by God directly, so that we can do what He commanded us to do, because He has revealed Himself. So when you're saying, "Oh, you don't have access to all of these because He has to do with accordance to," yes, He said it. He put it up. He imagine that He did all of this work. Okay, He set up the hospital for you, and you're like, "Nah, I'm not gonna go to the hospital because I don't like it." Well, that is a you problem. It's not a Him problem. He already told you how He wants it, how He wants to have the connection with you. If you deny that and then you say that you have a connection, then you are being P and not P. I deny I have a connection with God, but I have a connection with God. That's the direct contradiction.
I could totally continue the craft that I do, lighting candles to the ancestors or the saints. I could continue to use herbs for cleansing. I could continue to use holy water in my supplications. I could continue to supplicate myself before the source. All I'd have to do is change it to calling the source Jesus instead of the source, and I'd be practicing the same exact thing.
No, you wouldn't, because that is not
What
the
would
way
be
that you
different?
actually practice.
It would still be the same
What would
thing.
be
I'm
different?
still lighting
Everything
the
would be different.
same candle. I'm talking
No.
about the dogma, the practice of craft, not
We
the
don't-
ideology of Wicca
example-
versus the
Okay, just a
church.
second. Let's let Witchy finish your point, and then Emmet, please respond. Just finish what you're going to say, Witchy. I don't want you guys talking over each other.
We're talking about dogma here of craft, witchcraft. The church practices witchcraft. We do the exact same things for the exact same reasons. We do things that are symbolic, and we do things that are literal. And we light candles. We use incense. We use holy water to supplicate to the one source, or God, as you call it. You go through Jesus. I go through a familiar to reach the one source. So we each go our own way to that to the source that we know it to
I don't know
be.
about
And
that.
we respect our source. And in order to gain that power, we have to be in alignment with the plan of that source. It's not our own plan. If I could just put my will out there, you'd see a bunch of witches flying around on brooms actually doing that and owning banks and being billionaires, but you don't.
Okay, Emmet, please, your
Yeah,
response.
what you were talking about directly, I can show you, for example, one of the difference. The difference is you have an altar for your mother. That is not the way that we do it when it comes to the adoration of Jesus Christ. We don't do altar. We do, we honor our forefathers, right? We honor our mother or father, but we don't have adoration for them. That's not the way that it works. Even when we talk about the saints, when we ask the saints, it's like asking, it would be like me asking Darya to pray for me. The one that we are worshiping, the one that gets all of the glory is God directly. I'm not glorifying something.
How can
that is
Hassan
not
do that?
directly
When
God.
I do
The
that,
idea of
Jubilee fucking
lighting up a
nukes
candle,
my
and that means that
stream,
this
like
some kind of
midstream, like they did with the TED
supernatural
Talk.
thing. That's not how it works.
I don't know
We're
how
talking
Hassan
about
did that. Well,
simply
probably it was probably in a
using,
video.
like, when
That's
we light a
why.
candle,
Yeah,
it's
that's why.
it's a
Because I've done that in a
metaphor,
video
it's a
for him. But if
metaphysical
I try to
form
do that
of
live,
trying to. It is a symbol, true, but it's
It's
not. It's not a
yeah, he's
symbol
on
of
Twitch, and then
glory to that person.
maybe
It's a
I know you can
symbol
upload
of, I'm
videos of
putting this
Jubilee.
up as a way
But yeah, you
of
can't
me,
live stream it, unfortunately. So if
you
I
know,
live stream
entreating
him
you to
reacting,
me
I
so
might
that
get fucked.
I can be part of the of
It's
God.
been
So you
5
can,
minutes.
you are closer, so maybe you can ask for me, so that you can
Okay,
ask
well, let
me
them just
also.
finish this
The
thing.
difference once
I
again
might
is
have.
that
I'm
I'm
not
not
sure if
doing
I've
this
caught
on my
up.
own.
I
I'm not
think
doing this
this
for
is starting
myself.
to
I don't
sound a
think I
little
have a direct
familiar.
ideation magically put in my head that I can get to him. But in fact,
Come
I
on,
am
Confluence.
saying what he has set up in accordance to his own revelation, in accordance to who he is, so that I can have that kind of partake and I can have that kind of share energy with God himself. That is the big difference between one and the other.
It's exactly what my craft is sharing the energy with the source and everyone else connected to the source.
Yeah, but
It has
you cannot
nothing
do
to
it
do
if you're
with
not.
the self. I
You,
talk about I as in what I practice, the dogma that I practice in order to have that connection. You practice dogma, I practice dogma. A lot of it is the same dogma. And that is what I'm getting at. The fact of the matter is,
can
you
you?
said that your candles, let me finish. You said that I'm real quick here. You said that your candles are symbolic. Ours are too. It's a way to focus our energy on what we believe is the best course of action. But it's always telling God. And here's the thing. The do as you will
Can
for
land the
our
plane,
men,
Witchy.
as you keep bringing up, isn't just about what we do in our lives. It's about when we supplicate, you do as your will be done to the familiar, the same way do your familiar, Jesus. This is what I need.
Okay, we're probably not really gonna get to the very end of it. All right, Kirk. Sorry for making you wait, but thank you for your patience. What is your question? And
So my
say it
question
in
is,
the word Bayesian inference.
Have you heard of the difference between the Nyman Pearson and Fisherian approaches to statistics?
No, I haven't, Kirk.
So the Nyman Pearson approach to statistics is when you generate another hypothesis to the null hypothesis, and then you have the alpha, which denotes the risk you're willing to take for a false positive, which is when you accidentally reject the false hypothesis, and the beta denotes when you accidentally accept the null hypothesis when it's false, and you basically parameterize these things. And the Fisherian approach does not require the construction of an alternative hypothesis to the null hypothesis, and relies instead on a continuous p-value where you reject a hypothesis after after it reaches a continuous p-value, and then you reject the null hypothesis, but you don't construct an alternative hypothesis. I'm curious which philosophy of statistics you prefer.
I don't know. Why of all people are you like, I want to ask Confluence this question? Why of all people? Why me? I have to like
Well, so
parse
you
that in my
because you
head.
said you said you read some of Karl Popper's writings, and Popper was
I told you I took a class 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, that briefly mentioned Karl Popper. Isn't that what I told you?
So basically, okay. So can I just explain the philosophical
I
difference?
know. This is like not I did take one stats class, but again, that was 10 years ago. Okay, that was 10 years ago.
Okay. So the one philosophy says that you have to construct an alternative hypothesis and you parameterize the risk value, and the other philosophy says you don't construct an alternative hypothesis, you just have a continuous p function. Okay, so if do you agree with the idea that let me ask you this: do you agree with Popper's idea that for a theory to be scientific, it should be falsifiable?
Yes, I mean, generally yes. Can I answer that?
Yeah,
Generally, yes.
I think Popper would generally agree with the Nyman Pearson thing
But not
because
always. Not
okay,
always though.
but the reason is because Popper's philosophy of falsificationism would align with the idea that you should falsify the null hypothesis by having a strict parameter, and he would reject the inductive continuous p-values of Fisher. So he's more in the Nyman Pearson camp. And then I told you about Nassim Taleb, and Taleb is also in the Nyman Pearson camp because he says you should minimize the beta function, which is the probability. You should minimize the risk that you accidentally believe in the whole null hypothesis, because like Popper, he agrees with falsificationism that you should be much more ready to ditch the null hypothesis. And Taleb is getting this from basically the idea that if you have a low beta parameter, then you're more likely to be able to falsify existing theories.
Which camp do you fall into, Kirk?
The Taleb, Popper, Nyman Pearson camp, and also you've heard of the Mandelbrot set, right? Well, the guy who came up with that, Benoit Mandelbrot, kind of proven mathematically that real world finance works by fat tails, right? So the Pareto principle. It's basically the idea that it's not linear, but governed by what's it called? Like a power rule with the where the function is exponential rather than linear. So basically, there's a rare event is much more risky than people might expect.
Because there's so many rare events, and because of the long tail. Am I understanding this right?
Well, it's not just both a. So there's two reasons for this. So a, the reason that rare events are more risky is because there are more rare events than people expect, and b, because you can't quantify rare events. This is what Nassim Taleb and Raphael Dardy call the undecidability problem, but you can't quantify risk of a rare event, because if it's an unknown, right? Then right, I mean, you've heard the Rumsfeld unknown unknowns concept, right? There are things we know, there's things we don't know, there's things we don't know, right?
Yeah, we talked about that for like 2 hours one day, Kirk.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying is, because there are things we don't know, we can't quantify. It's undecidable what the risk values would be for those loss functions.
Okay. Trying to grasp what you're saying, Kirk. I'm doing my best, giving it the old college try.
Okay. And I know you don't like Soros, but Soros actually has a great insight about this with reflexivity, where basically, because human actors in the market are based on fallible nature, a la Popper's fallibilism. Basically, their decisions influence the their perceptions influence the market behavior, right?
I can't agree with anything George Soros has said, Testy. I mean, I'm Testy. I'm calling you Testy now. You guys are the same person. You're both just dead set on triggering me.
No, but like, this is like Soros's point here is pretty accepted among, I'm pretty sure, like, quantitative finance people, because you're dealing with limited information, your perception will influence your decisions just as much as the actual facts, right?
I took a whole stats class, okay? But it was specifically about psychological stats, so, take that as you will.
And also,
oh no, now you're trying to drag me into a finance conversation. You loop me in with stats, which I already don't like talking about very much, because at least the way you're talking about it, because it's just I don't know stats that well. This is like some fancy shit. And now you looped it into an economics discussion, and you even managed to bring up some type of physics in there, I'm pretty sure.
There's no physics involved. This is all statistical science.
Actually, I was going to bring up physics when you said about the theories. Scientific theories have to be falsifiable.
Well, Einstein's
quantum physics.
Einstein does bring up, Popper used Einstein as a great example of a physicist who created a falsifiable theory and contrasted him with Freud and Marx.
Can you say that again? I was reading Keelan's chat.
I said Popper
not what Kirk is saying was not taught in my stats class. I'll tell you that.
I'm saying Popper used Einstein and his theory of general relativity as a great example of a falsifiable theory.
Right, but I think there's some physical, like, not to drag this into quantum physics, but my understanding, like something like the Copenhagen interpretation, is that we have the facts, but you can't really disprove. Same with like multi-worlds or like Everett's interpretation. You can't, I don't know how you would falsify those things unless maybe you could falsify like all of quantum mechanics or something. But I don't know if you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I don't know if
those
interpretations can actually be disproven.
I'm not familiar enough with quantum physics.
This is just what I've heard from others. I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that between those interpretations, there's no actual way to like test which one is like accurate or not.
I don't know enough, but in general, a lot of scientists are kind of Popperian. But then you also have, I mean, like, the problem with the like, the reason that I'm more in the Newman Pearson camp than the Fisher camp. Also, on top of that, is like it allows you to parameterize risk much more, and so it has more practical utility for quantifying risk. I would I'm surprised you've never like heard of like Bayesian versus frequentist versus other theories of probability, like.
I mean, I know what Bayesian means, but.
Well, yes. So to Fukushima's point, the Nyman-Pearson lemma is used to find the most powerful test. Well, that's the thing is, it's about finding the most powerful hypothesis testing, and yeah, I mean, they were smart statisticians. Yeah,
that's possible. I just stole AVG's thumbnail and put myself in it. Okay, so. I
Yeah. I don't know. Did we talk about the what's it called? The Rumsfeld's unknown unknowns for 2 hours one day? I don't recall.
Maybe not 2 hours, but we talked about it for a long time on one of my Mario days.
Yeah, but
Wow, Testy Johnson just joined with a face reveal. Wait, is that from one of the? Is that one of the faces on the
9/11
the wanted
terror.
poster thing? Yeah. But yeah, we did talk about unknown unknowns for a while. I remember the Mario level I was playing at the time, but I don't remember what day it was.
see, statistics, like I said, it can be deeply philosophical in terms of when you're talking about the foundations of statistics.
Kirk, don't make me explain to you that just because something can be deeply philosophical doesn't mean I'm obligated to have an interest in it, okay? I don't even like all branches of actual philosophy, let alone things that can be deeply philosophical, okay? I feel like we've retreaded that path many times.
I know it's a recurring meme, like the Don Quixote meme, and but as long as you're gonna make fun of the stepmom thing, but as long as you do that, I'm gonna bring it up. So and I'll stop
That's
when you
fair.
stop with the stepmom thing.
It's
Right,
no,
only
the
fair.
stepmom thing is an
Well,
homoschool
then
thing are
this
definitely
is
worth any price.
not gonna stop.
So that's fair. That's fair.
Let me think. So okay, fine. Are you at least familiar with like the idea of like a Gaussian distribution?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, Taleb argues against the use of Gaussian distributions because of, I mean, you know the Pareto principle, right?
Oh, heard it. I can't remember.
Okay, so the Pareto principle is I'm forgetting the exact mathematical formulation. I think it's something like, okay, I'm looking it up. So it says 80% of consequences, 20% of causes. So basically, it's not. Yes, he said, hoping this will be over soon. The Pareto principle, the 80% of consequences from 20% of actions, basically, it's not
Oh, yeah.
it's not the
Okay.
exact formulation, but something like a Pareto distribution is something Taleb advocates for, because it's the rare events that have higher risk, because you can quantify and therefore minimize risk for known unknowns, but for unknown unknowns they have higher risk because they're more rare, so you can't quantify over them.
I think I would agree with that.
That's also one of the reasons for the Austrian
I see that big soda.
Austrian economics, is that the whole basis of it is the idea that we should have decentralized market forces because of the fallibility of knowledge in general. I understand there's specific areas where you think there's market failures, but I mean, do you generally think that this is a good criticism of like Keynesian and neoclassical models?
I don't have the wherewithal to answer if it's a good critique of it or not, Kirk. I'm not going to lie to you.
Let's Chief, is there ever an overarching point? What linking these things, or is it just like playing hopscotch in Kirk's mind? Well, let's think what
We
links
also
these.
have
Well,
60 seconds left, Kirk. So you got to land. If there is a plane,
yes,
be landed.
the overarching point is that rare things are unpredictable, so we can't quantify the risk, and this is related to the idea that we should try and falsify our theories and be fallible in our knowledge.
All right. Kirk, I feel like you just punished me more than you would have because I made you wait so long. I feel like this was like more Kirkian than most Kirk discussions that we have. I feel like you're just trying to get me back, okay?
I did.
Well, that's a thing. Tomorrow is Trivia Tuesdays, hosted by Rage Page. Video games, okay? Who doesn't like video games? So everyone can compete, okay? Well, up to a max of like 8 contestants or something like that. But that's a lot of people if you think about it. So that will be tomorrow around 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
No, first you have to start with the actual. No, just real quick. I need to say this, Chief. You have to start with the actual
God, you're not
concepts of
getting
mathematics.
You're not getting one guide. I'm allowed to get one guide on my pal. You can't get one guide on my pal. It doesn't work like that. Well, I'm plugging trivia. Dang it, Kirk. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the people who came up and reacted. Yeah, we probably will stop it here, you know. So because I know no one pre-watched, you are now allowed to go to this. Look, I'll even give you guys a timestamp
Yeah.
if you want to finish it.
Yeah.
It's 1:23:08. Okay. You know, I should probably post a link to this actually in the description. I'll remember to do that. It's kind of an asshole move for me not to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Can you
Oh,
full
sevens, you
screen me
guys.
for my
see
goodbye?
you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh yes, this is
Goodbye,
that's me with
chat.
my
Make
me
sure
with
you
my
tune in to trivia. You know, it's been fun.
Kirk loves that. Kirk absolutely adores that. All right, good to see you, panelists. Thank you, Kirk. God bless you. God bless you, Big Soda. God bless you, Les Chief Keelan, who is still here, Sport Brand, and anyone else who still happens to be sticking around. Okay, 07s guys.
Have
Bow,
fun.
bow, 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 bow. Oh, didn't end the stream, right?